missing, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, bugging like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. You're listening to the sports coma with Big Q and the guys on the Pro Media Network.
It's been good work so far. I think he's looked good. I think he's practicing really well. I think he's highly engaged in what we're doing. I think our guys are utilizing him in a lot of different ways. He's lined up in a lot of different spots. We've motioned him, giving him the ball out of the backfield, throwing the ball to him out of the backfield, lined him up outside. So he's done a lot of different stuff, and I think he's looked really good. I think I think he understands, what we're trying to get done in the wide zone, and he's doing he's been outstanding in terms of his discipline and his tracks, and technically he's been really sound. So, excited about how he looks.
And obviously, you guys have historically moved him around the field a bunch, but was that, when Clint came in, was that maybe an emphasis for him, was just kind of finding ways to create like matchups with him and stuff like that?
Yeah, and I think that's always been something that we've tried to do, with Alvin is try to put him in different positions and utilize his skill set. He's an outstanding route runner, and is a matchup issue, on linebackers, safeties, whatever the case may be. So we're going to try to utilize him in that way and put him in a lot of different spots.
Dennis, there was a lot of creative stuff offensively today. As a defensive guy, what do you think when you see that stuff, when you're designing that stuff? How do you feel about the creativity of this offense?
Yeah, look, I think it's been really good. I mean, I don't think we've gone any 2 consecutive days where we've seen the same exact play. Now we've seen the same concepts, but they've all come off of some sort of different formation, different personnel grouping, different motion, fast motion, regular motion, all these different things that we're seeing is good to see from an offensive standpoint. I think our guys have been creative in what they are asking our guys to do, and I think our guys have been able to execute those plays. So it's one thing to say you want to be creative and do all these unique things, but you still have to be able to execute those plays. And so I think our offense has done a nice job of that. I think that's going to prepare ourselves defensively throughout the course of the season. We're seeing some things that, stress the defense, stress our technique, stress our rules. And so when you see those things, then you have to be able to adjust. And that's it's been refreshing to see, in particular from a defensive coach's perspective.
Have you seen some things that maybe you haven't seen before, or variations on a theme?
I don't know that I've seen any plays that, I haven't seen at least on tape at some point in time before. Again, I think the uniqueness really is how do we format it? What's the personnel grouping that we're using? What formation are we running these things out of? What type of motions are we using to hide, what we're trying to do? So I think that's probably the biggest thing in terms of the creativity comes from not necessarily the ball plays, as much as how you're getting to him.
Would you
Tell
say
us why-
that Jordan Mims is taking advantage of his opportunity right now?
Yeah.
It seems every time he's touching the ball.
Yeah, look, I think he's doing some really good things. He's a guy that's caught my eye. He's a guy that's run the ball effectively. I think he's done a nice job, in the receiving game. For the most part, he's done a pretty good job in protection. So, he's a guy that I think has improved a lot. And again, he'll be a guy that we're going to try to get a lot of work in the preseason and see where he's at.
Tell us why Shaheed wasn't on practice.
He's dealing with a little bit of hamstring tightness. I think it was a little bit more of a precautionary measure today, but so we took the day off today in terms of physically. We'll reevaluate him and see if we can't get him back out here tomorrow.
In the last 2 days, we've seen okay, some reps where you're going to have Carr running out to the side. What's the benefit of doing it that way versus maybe telegraphing it with a heavy formation where the defense can kind of adjust?
I think anytime the offense moves, the defense has to adjust, right? And so, anytime you're making the defense have to think instead of just being able to put their cleats in the ground and line up and see it and react, I think it's beneficial. So that's all part of the, creativity of some of the stuff we're doing offensively.
One from Derek, the naked keeper. That was called, right? Or did he do that on his own?
Well, there's a read element that goes along with that play. It's pretty simple. I mean, if everybody runs down inside, just keep it and run around the edge. I mean, that was pretty easy offensively. But look, that's good to see because there's some things that we have to be able to coach off of defensively and how we have to be able to defend those plays. I don't anticipate that you're going to see a ton of, Derek Carr keeping the ball, on that play. But I think, look down there in that area of the field in particular, when you make the defense have to play 11 on 11, and the quarterback becomes a running threat, then I think that's really challenging for the defense.
It looked like Rod Taylor's made a couple of good plays. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think he's done some good things. I mean, he's a guy that came in, he was, kind of started off working with the threes, did some good things. The interception he had, early in camp, kind of, caught our eye. He's a guy that he's smart. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's usually in the right place. When he's had opportunities to make plays, he's been able to make the plays. So, I think he's a guy that's in the mix, and preseason will have a lot to do with who ends up making the squad and who's getting what kind of playing time.
It's today a rest day for camp.
Today was rest day for camp. All right, thanks guys.
Thanks, Dad.
All right. Shout out to the mighty Who That Nation, man. We up in this thing representing the Sports Coma. Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Much love to the fam, man. In this episode of the Coma Sports, Saints camp, day number 9 of the camp. We just rolling on, man. So shout out to you guys. Appreciate you being alive. Please feel free to hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. And by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. We up in this thing, holding down the Who That Nation representing, man. So big ups to you guys. A few things to kind of go off as we continue to kind of listen and react to some of the interviews you heard with Dennis Allen was talking about what's going on with some of the players. You mentioned Rashid Shaheed had some hamstring issues to kind of to talk about. A lot of people with hamstring issues. That adds Demario Davis, Kendre Miller. A lot of guys dealing with some little issue right now early on. It's a little bit more than what I would like to see from some of our guys, but I don't anticipate a lot of this being something that will kind of fester into the regular season. Usually this happens. The Saints kind of get these guys together and kind of get them well for the regular season. So not much return, but Cedric Wilson did come back to practice. Cam Jordan had the rest day. And then, of course, a lot of what I was watching a lot of the practice footage was showing that the Saints was working on getting that run game together, and they were actually doing pretty well in getting a run game going. And that's was something that John Benton talked about, getting it going, and that's running on angles, And then, of course, the Saints do, like I was saying, do have the offensive lineman that can do what John Benton want. It just comes down to everything else, like the mental aspect of the game and the repetition. That's how you get it locked in, just constantly getting the reps, and knowing when the plays are called what to do, having the discipline to not tip your hand. So it'll take a little bit, like I said, still very on with them implementing some of these principles. But like I said, man, that zone run system, man, is a doozy, man. If it's and like I said, I've said this before. It's like it takes a great amount of discipline for the team to be able to run these plays in a way where when you have it set up, it almost looks like the same play, whether you're going to run or pass. So it kind of keeps the defense, like I said, thinking about what are these guys going to do, and they're trying to see if you can tip your hat to what they're doing, if it's a run or a pass versus this type of stuff. So it's a very disciplined style system that the Saints are trying to implement. And if they can do it, you see how the 49ers and other teams that run it have success in doing it, because it really just seeks in on the intelligence of the defense and what's the IQ there? Can you figure out what I'm going to do? It's like a chess game as opposed to just playing checkers. So we'll see how it all goes. But as of far in this practice, the Saints have been doing a pretty good job of running the ball. A lot of one-on-one action. We've seen Derek Carr had multiple touchdown passes in the matchup. The QB play continues to be solid from our backups as well. Jordan Mims is another dude that a lot of people are big upping, doing a really good job. Not really surprised by that because I've watched Jordan Mims play, and Jordan Mims has skills, man. So does Robinson, the other backup running back. Wait till if they give an opportunity to see what he can do, get ready for him as well. So like I said, man, a lot of positive stuff happened in camp as Marquez Callaway trying to get his stuff, trying to get back familiar with what's going on there as well. So a lot of very positive thing. The defense, not so much this time around in this particular practice, more this time with the offense making some things happen. Isaiah Foskey did have some positive plays as well. So, I mean, and of course you see guys like Chase Young out there that continue to get to that, look more and more like his healthy self. So like I said, I'm very, interested to see exactly what we can produce offensively. From a defensive standpoint, as long as the Saints are healthy, I do really think that, man, they can do some fantastic stuff. Like last year, we wasn't as good as the run stuffers that we would like to see happen. I was watching footage of Christian Boyd, him getting his stuff together as well. Christian Boyd's going to be a really solid rotational defensive interior man for the Saints, with when you look at Brian Bresee and the second layer by interior defensive lineman with Christian Boyd taken into that Malcolm Roach role. So he's going to be a big part of that rotation as well. And remember, when you have those guys and you're able to rotate them, and even if you need to kick Cam inside, when you have that type of versatility, it really helps, especially when you have depth on the defensive line like that. And you can really kind of absorb a lot of those games where the Saints offense is not working and there's a lot of 3 and out stuff going on. It's like they can't get it going. They're screwing it up. They're not blocking correctly. And it's 3 and out, or something like that. And the defense has to spend some more time on the field. If you can have a strong rotation of defensive ends like we have that are healthy, that does help absorb it to a degree. So, that's okay. So it's still some questions, like a lot more of my questions are on the offensive side versus what I see from the defense. I think the defense is stable enough as long as we don't have injuries at the wrong positions. Like I said, for as long as Tyrann Mathieu is out there, because some of these guys, you don't really have a capable backup for it. Now, I like Pete Werner. I like Willie Gay, but Willie Gay still have to learn the system. Pete Werner is a good linebacker there as well. But we have not experienced since Demario Davis has been down here, and may we say the same going forward, to see Demario Davis in any measurement miss any good length of game, because we can afford, like if Cam Jordan gets banged up and he has to sit down, I think the Saints will be all right with what we have. As long as guys don't get hurt, and we lose even more guys. But if Cam, was have to be out for a couple of games, I think the Saints defense will be all right. We got depth there. But Demario Davis, some of those irreplaceable guys like Demario Davis or Tyrann Mathieu, as long as those guys are there, you're going to be all right. But if you lose those guys, you don't really have a replacement for those guys. You usually take a multiple people to fill in for roles with guys like that, man. So very possible. So yeah, like I said, Cam got arrested today. Rashid Shaheed had some issue. Reports are saying hamstring. Derek Carr had a pretty good day at camp, multiple touchdowns from him. And like I said, the quarterbacks played decently in day 9 of camp. So shout out to you guys. If y'all have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat and I will do my best to answer them as we go. Shout out to you guys. Happy Saturday to you guys. Sorry, I was supposed to do the live right on time and the live along with the press conferences live. But at the time, today is a very busy day for me. I was on the Pelican post-game report for PPR in the morning. That kind of overlapped into my time frame for this show. I had to slide it down. And then, of course, later on tonight, I'll be doing my boxing stream. So we'll be doing the Terrence Crawford fight, among others, on Ring Kings Boxing. Shout out to also happy birthday wishes to my son. He turned 17 today. And happy birthday to my boy. One of my boys, my oldest son. I got 2 of them. And they are supportive, man. And they really cool dudes, man. So happy birthday to him. And man, listen, it's kind of raining over here, man. So yeah, but we chilling though. We good, But big ups to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all for being in the stream. Much love to the fam. Please feel free to hit the like button if you and the subscribe button. And also, please feel free to share the show on your social media feed if you can. If you're listening via X, please give us a retweet. We'll appreciate it as well. Equivadia says, who you got, Q? Tonight, Terrence Crawford. I think Terrence Crawford beat Mamaroff. I think he beats him. To be honest with you, he had a pretty decent amateur career, but there is few boxes in between. Like even if Terrence Crawford, the last dispatching he had of Errol Spence, he took him apart. But this fight will be a little bit more difficulty because I like Matt Moral's activity. Very active fighter, very underrated fighter, has punching power in both hands, but it's levels to this stuff. And like when you match guys like this, the intelligence, the quickness, and the overall ring generalship of Terrence Crawford is matched by very few. You're looking at a Hall of Famer fighting right now. That's how good the guy is now. So, but there are fights where you could kind of think about, well, could he be in trouble tonight? No, I think that with some fights, the guy makes you dig a little deeper, to do. And I think being that he hadn't fought since the last time he fought Errol Spence and he's fighting this fighter, Mamaroff got like 11 fights. 11 or 12 fights, and the majority of them by knockouts, but he won the belt. And is he 10th or 11th fight? I forgot. I do these shows, man. But yeah, I got Crawford, man. Tonight, I got Terrence Crawford in this one, man. They got a few other really good boxing matches, too. Shout out to Oscar Cabrera, our boxing contributor on the WhoDatDaily.com. And shout out to Arthur, too. Shout out to Arthur Rooks. He's our other boxing contributor. They do really good work at WhoDatDaily.com covering the sport. Really good article highlighting all of the fights that's going on. Pitbull Cruz fights tonight. Gerald Big Baby Miller fights Andy Ruiz, who beat Anthony Joshua. And then, of course, you have a good fight that I want to see between Jared Anderson going up against Martin Bacoli. That's a really good, it's a heavyweight fight. Some of my people might not know who the hell I'm talking about. Say, Q, what the hell who are these people, Q? Just get on Ring Kings Boxing, fam. We got you covered. So big ups to you guys. Appreciate y'all being here as well. All right. Thank y'all, man. Appreciate the birthday wishes, man. To my boy, 17 years age. Yeah, that's right. He's 17 years old. So you know how I'm feeling. He said when I said 17, because I let him talk to my mama this morning. Today she wished them happy birthday, all this kind of stuff. And she said, "How old are you?" And he's like 17. He's like, "Oh my God, oh my Lord." I was like, "Yeah, he's 17. 17 years young." All right, big ups to y'all, man. All right, Uncle Deuce says, Q, you think a big baby Jared Anderson getting, I don't, that bro, that is the toughest fight because I know Andy Ruiz will beat big baby Miller, Jarrell Miller, who I think Jarrell Miller shouldn't even be fighting, to be honest with you, because Jarrell Miller got caught dirty twice. And I think he should have been thrown out of the sport, but he talks a mean game, talks a lot of crap, but is not winning any fights. Daniel Dynamite Dubois just beat his ass, knocked him. It's a big guy, that's 300-pound fighter, but he talks a lot. He got a big flapping mouth, but he's not coming up with any wins. So I think Andy Ruiz would dispatch him. But the Jared Anderson versus Martin Bacoli, that is a extremely dangerous fight for Jared Anderson. Bacoli is a solid heavyweight, man, and both of these guys trying to get into the next level of the heavyweight division. So this is a crucial fight, and Bacoli is a dangerous fighter, man. Got power in both fists, moves pretty decently, takes a mean punch. But I like Jared Anderson's chances because Jared's not like a traditional heavyweight. He fights like a middleweight. He's a heavyweight fighter that punches and throws blows and fights at the rate of a lightweight or a smaller fighter. It's amazing how many his production, his punch production, it's amazing, man. The dude, and it's like it's very unusual to have a big fighter that punches, that fights like almost like a middleweight. Like his punch volume's ridiculous. And most heavyweights can't withstand that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting because Bacoli is going to challenge him, man. So that's probably the one I'll have highlighted the 50-50 fight. That's the one right there. All right. So anyway, man, let me keep it going to y'all, man. All right. So what's up? What's up, B Jizzle? How you doing, sir? Good to see you, man. Hope everything doing well with you as well. All right. So anyway, man, let's get into the rest of the stuff, man, and kind of finish up with here. I also got another interview I'm going to play for you guys with Ian Rapoport that the release.
What up? Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Can you describe at all what it means to you?
Man, it means a ton. I guess it kind of should have been on my radar, but it really wasn't. I was really just dialing into coaching and, trying to get, working to get the guys better and working on being a better coach and learning, my role.
Man, shout out to Jahri Evans, man. Hall of Famer, man. Shout out to Jahri Evans, man, for that. That's big for him to get that. And that's what you're supposed to do. The Saints are doing it right. You get Jahri Evans, bring him back as an assistant, and ultimately he'll climb that ladder to becoming an offensive line coach in running his offensive line and then higher up. But shout out to Jahri Evans. That's what you're supposed to do. I would not. Why not caution the Saints to go and reach out to people like your former greats and bring them on the team, give them a job. Like offensive assistants and stuff. For a while, we had Fred McAfee doing that, and Fred McAfee was one of the greats in terms of his special teams play, a fan favorite. Perhaps I don't know what Drew Brees is doing nowadays. Being around, I think he's still calling the games college wise, but it'll be interesting to see Drew Brees come back to help out in a special offensive assistant or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Bring some of those greats back. We can have that energy, that championship energy, back into the current team. That's always good to link the great teams from the past with the teams of the present. So I applaud the Saints for reaching out to Jahri Evans to give him a job right here. And it's the same thing with Zach Strief. So, all right. Tiger Fist 88 says low key running back James Robinson's 1,000-yard back from 2020 thoughts. Yeah, I talked about that earlier in the show. And we'll get back to Jahri in a second. I talked about that in the show about Jordan Mims. Jordan Mims, a lot of people are impressed by Jordan Mims. They're not familiar with Jordan Mims. But if you see, I've seen Jordan Mims play. Like I said, he's a very solid veteran running back. He has speed. He can go inside and out. Not so much on the power game. Got a little power there, but James Robinson is a dude that has speed and power. And both these guys can catch the ball out the backfield. Both of them can block. They're very solid, young veteran running backs that can help you. They really do. So when the Saints picked those guys up, Jordan Mims, and then later on James Robinson, I was like, man, those are terrific pickups because, you can never have too many really great running backs. Because if you look at what the Saints are dealing with right now with Kendre Miller, that's why I was hesitant on people saying, man, hey, Q, we let Kamara go and we got Kendre as the future. I'm like, no, That's too premature. You don't let your best offensive player go unless you know you have the right dude in the building. And I want to say Kendre Miller at least stay healthy for one damn year. And that's not what you see. He dealing with a hamstring issue right now. That could change and he gets healthy. But this is a prove it year to see what happens. But if the Saints lock in with Alvin Kamara to a 2-year, probably, I don't think it'll be a 3, but a 2-year option, which if that is indeed the case, that locks Alvin Kamara in for maybe 2 or 3 years, depending on what it is, that puts him along with the window of the current people that are difference makers on the team. Every last one of them dudes, like you have a Cam Jordan, a Demario Davis, a Tyrann Mathieu, a Taysom Hill, all those guys are locked in on 2-year deals, 2 years remaining. So the window there to get as much as you can out of these guys are now. So they kind of looking at that window. And then beyond that year, once those guys step away, they'll still have some dead money from the previous campaigns from multiple players. But then 2 years from now, the money explodes to like over $200 million. So we looking at really over the next 2-3 years, fam, like a sea change are going to happen. You're going to see your Saints radically change because Tyrann Mathieu, Demario, Cam, all those guys are going to retire. And then you'll have the next generation of people here. Even Carr to a degree after 2 or 3 years from now, the team looks different there as well. Then during the process, you have guys like Chris Olave's contract coming up. You got Paulson Adebo. It's a lot of stuff going on to decide what's the future of the Saints will look like beyond the next 2-year window. So that's why I was upset about all this losing, because I was looking at it from a time window and looking at the timeline and saying the Saints are wasting time with these dumb decisions with Dennis Allen, all this other nonsense over the last couple of years. And I kept saying we wasting away the time window of great players like Demario and Cam and Tyrann Mathieu. We got these guys here. Let's see if we can swing for the fences and make it work. So anyway, all right. But yeah, thank you for the question, Tiger Fist. I agree, man. The dude is very good. Both of those guys are solid running backs, man. So we'll see. All right, Jackson, we need Breeze and Manning to take management positions. Well, I'm not mad at that at all, bro. If the Saints can get some of these guys, lock them in, man. Some of them Louisiana greats, Saints greats, wouldn't be a bad idea. Sean, what's up, bro? Say my expectations are low for the season, but I want badly for us to mess around and make it to the Super Bowl, our city host. This is, if it is, it's an extra motivation for the team. The Saints are here. The Super Bowl is in the Saints building. The building that they call home is here. What could be a bigger sense of motivation than to host the Super Bowl in your own city, for the Saints to get to the Super Bowl in their own city? It's in your backyard. What more motivation do you need to represent? What bigger motivation do you need? So it's time, man. It really is. Back to Jahri Evans.
Our responsibility as assistant coach, and I wasn't really thinking about it. Obviously, we had the Hall of Fame, happening this weekend with the guys going in. Congrats to them. But it's a huge honor. It's awesome. The only thing I kept thinking about is when my children come to a game this year, to that game, they'll see Daddy's name up there. So it's pretty awesome.
What does it mean just when you think about the other 7 guys who are up there already?
Yeah, it's an elite crew. It's great. Every time when I play, you walk into the stadium, coming off the bus, and one of the first things you look at is, you look at the bowl, you look at the ring, and to be up there, with those guys, it's an honor. It's an honor.
One thing Dennis says is like the guard position, I think it tends to get overlooked in terms of the value that it brings, especially for a guy like Drew, who needs that interior pockets that you were one of the best that ever did it. Is that kind of just a good feeling to know that the guard position is being appreciated in the way it should be?
Yeah, I think every team is different. Our team, that's what, I wanted to be the best player I can be. We wanted to maximize everybody's strengths, and we did that. We did that with Drew's play, with his leadership, him being a general out there. And, we always told ourselves that we protect them, we can make plays down the field. We were never out of a game because of Drew. So we all just, worked hard and not to let each other down. And I was just trying to be the best player I can be, the best teammate I can be, and go out there and win games.
How surprised were you? I know Dennis stood up here yesterday and said, hey, to try to keep it a secret from you
as
much as possible.
Yeah, I didn't know, man. We walked into the meeting, and when they start talking about it, I still wasn't really thinking myself. I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, is Drew in the hallway or who's here? But, once they put the silhouette up, it was, I was like, damn, it's happening. So it was awesome. They did a great job, and I was very surprised. I'm obviously not surprised in the way I played and the things I did well, but it wasn't on my radar to happen this soon. But it's awesome, and I'm excited about it.
There's going to be a bunch of other guys, I'm sure, from your era on the Saints that are eventually going to go up there to be up there, sort of leading the pack for the rest of the guys. That part's got to feel nice because you're going to get some company, right?
Yeah, it's amazing, man. And I told the guys in that meeting, the biggest thing is that we won games. You know what I mean, as a team, and that's what you inspire to do as a team. Is to win games. That's the most important thing, is to win. But once I got back to my phone, all my teammates and friends, and it's going to be a packed house that game. So
are you
it's going to be
the
fun.
reason Duke's got in the end zone in that 06?
Well,
playing against Philadelphia, or what did you do?
well, everybody knows when we play Philly, I had to do my thing. But yeah, Deuce, I tell him all the time, he was my first 1,000-yard back in the league. Deuce ran hard. We had a great line, and we was toting that rock. So, but it was a great team effort. Carney was in there too. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Would you mind if I ask you a coaching question? I've seen you talking with Trevor Penning a bunch. What kind of things are you trying to get? I'm guessing a lot of it's just the mental side, right? What kind of things are you trying to get across to him?
Encourage him to be the physical player that he is. Encourage him to throw his hands. Encourage him to work on his technique and his footwork. And I think Trevor is doing that. The eye in the sky doesn't lie. So when we get back in the meeting room, it's easy to show him those things on film. But when you're out here, you always got to work on your technique and work on something. And I think Trevor is doing a good job transitioning to the right side. And I think you're seeing the player that, he was kind of growing to be before the injury a couple of years ago. We're not going to talk about that. But Trevor is a big physical guy, and the more we can get him using his physicality and having confidence in his physicality, he's going to be all right.
You see a difference in him this year than at this point last year?
Yeah, for sure. I think his confidence level is up. I think he's encouraged to play next to Caesar as well. And, and I think well, the thing about Trevor is he always wants to be good. He never shies away from that. But just make sure he has the confidence and go out there and keep working.
What does confidence in his physicality look like?
Just throwing his hands, being physical. I think you guys saw in that one play where he pulled around close to the end. He got a good lick on the backer out there. And just having him have the confidence that he's going to get better. He just can continue pushing. We all know he's a big guy and he likes to go to the echo of the whistle. Just try to have him hone it in and have organized chaos down there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Congrats.
Thank you guys.
Well deserved.
Thank you.
All right. Shout out to Jahri Evans, man. He deserved all that success, man. Put in a lot of great work, man, and brother deserved it, man. And like I said, man, it's always a good strategy for the Saints to keep around people that we, from our glorious past that can remind us of some of this stuff, man, so we can reach back into that lore and bring these guys with that championship mindset onto the current team who was trying to tie into that championship energy. And like I said, man, when you talk about where the team is and versus where they are insofar as being the Super Bowl being in the city of New Orleans, I think things are kind of lining up, man, where it's just, man, it really depends. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of gambles. Not saying that it can't go the right, but like I said, watching a lot of the stuff, a lot of the practice film from today, the offensive line was doing a good job of running the football. They were doing a good job because that's the staple of the offense, the zone run situation, running the football and doing a good job of it. We have to continue to do that, and we have to build upon that. So, I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. So when these games, and like I said, what was it? We got next Saturday for the first of the preseason games that we'll see with the Saints against the Arizona Cardinals, and that'll be interesting to see that. Even like I said, with some of these preseason games, man, it'll be very interesting, man. So we just need to make it pop and make it shake, and make it happen. So and this is what we got to do. We got to kind of see this footage I wanted to share with y'all, man. Let me share this with y'all. This is the footage. This is how the Saints. This is how the black and gold really need to treat the treat other teams, right, coming into the season. That's disrespecting. We need to come with this type of energy. Go, girl. Don't try us, man. Don't try us, man. That was kind of heavy-handed action we need to have for this damn season, man. That's what we need to do for real. We need to whoop on some season like old girl just did, man. Don't try us. That's how we need to do with the Falcons. That's what we need to do. We need to do that with the Dallas Cowboys. We need to do that with the Falcons. We need to do that with pretty much everybody, man. We got to have that kick your ass energy. That's what it was. She was short, boy. She was letting it go, wasn't she? Oh my goodness, he ain't stand a chance. All right, big ups to y'all, man. Good to see y'all in the chat. King Chosen One says this year might be AK running routes, man. Yeah, running routes. Yeah, and I've said that. I think that will be a big plus. I think Alvin Kamara will have a lot of success this year in this system. I really do think that, to be quite honest with you. He's going to have a lot of success in this Saints system. If it's ran properly, it's going to be big. It's going to be awesome. All right, Jack says Kamara better run routes and not just dump off. Yeah, indeed, man. That was the thing last year that we seen that we wasn't really impressed with the check down, a lot of the check downing that was going on. And a lot of the check downs were, wasn't beneficial because when he would check it down, it would, some of them at times would, when you check them down, the guy was right there by Alvin Kamara. In some cases, two guys. So, I mean, and like I was saying with that last year for long parts of it, it was pretty milquetoast, but I don't see that kind of crap happening this year. I think the with Clint Kubiak's system is it kind of takes a lot of the guesswork. It kind of like I said before, it makes the defense think like, what are these guys doing? Because if you look at and study some of the San Francisco 49ers film, they line up the same kind of way. They double motion at times. There's a lot of motioning going on, and the motioning and all this other stuff, the running play looks like a passing play. So only way you would be able to decipher what they're doing is perhaps you would have been a football player or a defensive player that was exposed a great deal to that zone principles. Then you would understand the little idiosyncrasies of how to figure it out. Like you have to be disciplined. Like if you watch, that's what I was like, man, if we can run it our version and change it a bit, because it's not going to be exactly the same 49ers version, or they wouldn't know what to do with it. But you would know, just like if you were a disciple of Sean Payton and you had his offense and you might have, deviated it a little bit, Sean Payton would still recognize it. The players that played against the system would still recognize it. They wouldn't recognize all of it, but a great deal of it they will. So the matchups against, when you get into the playoffs against a potential 49er team, how does that look? Then it would get down to mano a mano. The guy, the offensive lineman getting there to block out Fred Warner, to be able to do what he needs to do. Guys got to handle business against Joey Bosa, stuff like that, you see? So, it was Nick Bosa. But you would have to, you would have to know the system to know the little chinks in the armor. Say, I know what they're doing. So that's why I was like, man, this offense can be pretty good, man, to be honest with you. All right, Sean says, plus the NFC is wide open with no clear-cut favorite to win it. Anything can happen. This is true. The Falcons feel like they've done enough to wrestle the division away. Not wrestle it away, but Tampa Bay won it last year. A lot of people didn't respect Tampa Bay mind, and they took it. Tampa Bay ain't went anywhere. Baker Mayfield, rediscovered confident Baker Mayfield. How does he look without Canales, who was the QB whisperer for him last year, who's trying to do that same thing for a more talented player in Bryce Young in Carolina? How does he look without Canellis? So here go Kool-Aid McKinstry, fam. Let's listen to what Kool-Aid got to say. Here we go.
Sharif, you want to lead off?
Yes.
Kool-Aid, just 9 days in the camp, just your progression through each and every practice so far, and how you felt about that.
Man, feeling good, just trying to get familiar with everything, getting used to how things are done around here in this great organization that I'm in. So just, trying to feel things out and learn how to do things the right way and the Saints way.
What is your confidence level in this defense, Joe Woods' defense, and Coach Robertson's secondary?
I feel very confident in this defense. A lot of the schemes we did at Alabama, so I'm very familiar with the schemes that we're doing and the positions they got me playing, corner and nickel. I'm very familiar with those techniques and those schemes in general.
When did you kind of maybe feel pretty much 100% healthy?
I started to feel like 100% healthy, like kind of towards the end of vet minicamp, I think that's what it's called. So kind of towards the end of that, like right through, we was cut free for the little break. I was about free for 100%.
Kool-Aid, you say very familiar with slot, but obviously you don't have a lot of like actual snap experience doing that. So how quick has that transition gone for you?
I say I'm very familiar just because when I was at Alabama, I practiced it a lot, took a lot of reps in practice, just like I'm doing here now. So may have played it in the game, really don't have no snaps in the game, probably like a couple of. But I did a lot of reps in practice, no matter was it with the twos when I was going with the ones at corner at Alabama. So I had a lot of reps and just doing it, just knowing what to do.
How do you think that suits you, and what do you like? What's eye-opening about how the position is played differently from inside?
I feel like inside, you just around the ball more, more opportunities to make tackles, more opportunities, just like I said, to get around the ball in different kind of ways.
Kool-Aid, what is your kind of approach to your rookie camp? Obviously, it's a situation where you have to be okay with getting beat at times to learn from it. In the past, some young players try to be perfect, get in their head too much. How have you kind of approached that in your first week plus of camp?
Just going out here every day, just trying to be the best me and being better than I was yesterday. Going back to meetings and learning from my mistakes. Learning little things from vets, big things from vets. Just trying to make sure that tomorrow I'll be better than today. That's really my my objective when coming to practice.
Gotcha. And I think Alante said yesterday, one of the things that he's impressed with you about is, not only are you asking questions, but you can tell like when they're talking, you're listening, you're noting it down. I'm just curious, working with guys like Tyron, guys who've been around. Is there any particular advice that stood out in terms of how you approach this from them?
I'm very thankful for those guys. When I ask them a question, they give me truthful answers and they try to help me. So I'm just very thankful for those guys in general. Everything that they say I take in. I don't treat even the smallest question like it's little. I treat everything like it's the same. So I'm just very thankful for those vets that I have in the room.
Hey, cool. What, the only family members now just call you JaQuincy. Anybody else call you JaQuincy anymore, or is it just all Kool-Aid now?
All Kool-Aid.
All Kool-Aid. Family members, everybody.
Yeah.
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 The future of the Saints secondary, Mr. Kool-Aid McKinstry, is in the building. So big ups to the fam. Shout out to Lori. Shout out to all the queens and the kings of the Coma. Appreciate y'all being in the building as well. Shout out to Lori. Had a very important message to deliver right there. No, I ain't have Jerry message up there. I don't know what you're talking about, Tasha. I don't know what you're talking about. All right. Yeah. He says McMillan looking nice and big. I've been looking at a few people, to be quite honest with you, from different camps. I've been peeking in for different camps, and I've been watching what Carolina been doing. I'm telling you the truth. Been looking at what Carolina been doing. Been looking at what not so much on Tampa Bay. I've been hearing a few things here on Tampa Bay, but I've been looking at Carolina. Yeah, they got a lot of positive stuff going on, of course. My dog Big Low, shout out to him, and he kind of been talking about the Atlanta Falcons And the Falcons feel like they've done enough, along with Kirk Cousins, to help them sit at the top of the NFC South. They feel like they've made a bunch of, solid enough moves coupled with what they did last year to help them take the step. So it's not just us in the division that feels like that. Like we know with Tampa, they have talent there. We know Carolina's a young team. They added more to go along with Bryce Young and have a QB whisperer coach in there that would try to get the most out of them. So we do understand that. But it's not going to be easy. Here's Dallin Holker.
Right now, and sort of how you feel about what you've been able to put on tape so far.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Fall camp is just a grind. So, and your rookie year too. So just getting out here and just learning everything, and I feel like it helps me. Getting a lot of confidence just getting out here and getting those reps. So I feel pretty good about everything so far.
And you know that there's opportunity at tight end right now, right? I mean, you get what's in front of you potentially, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every day, I just come out here and try to practice as hard as I can, to be able to make a spot on this team and help us win. So, I just try to do my best to represent my family too while I'm out here. So,
Dallin, Dennis before camp started was saying he knows what you can do as a receiver. You wanted to see it as a blocker. You feel like you've picked up some more of that and then gotten better in that area?
Yeah, I feel like I have. I mean, it's definitely a lot easier, trying to block someone that have pads on and be more physical with pads for sure. So, it's always nice to get the pads back on and hit people.
What's helped you kind of become a better blocker? Like, does watching other people do it help more, or is it a coaching thing?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's a little bit of everything, honestly. I have a really good coach, Clancy. He, is a great coach and helps me out a ton. And some of the other tight ends too, like Foster. Foster's been a huge help to me, like always just coaching me up on little things. So, those two guys, and then, a big part about blocking, I feel like, is just your mindset that you have with it. So, those things together have helped me out a lot, I feel like.
Do you think that's a fair analysis of you, that more of a receiving tight end at this point that needs to work? That's what Dennis said. Needs to work on the blocking. Is that fair? Do you agree with that? Yeah, for sure. I mean,
I definitely, past offenses have always been, asked to do more things in the pass game and the receiving end. But, I want to be the most complete tight end that I can be and the best tight end possible. So, I feel like to do that, you got to be able to do everything.
And going back to like high school and junior high, did you always play tight end, or what position did you play coming up?
Yeah, I started playing tight end my junior year of high school, and I played quarterback before that, and then switched to tight end after that. So.
No, pulling a lot of stuff from the San Francisco offense, obviously, like tight end who's very successful there. Is that kind of exciting working in that type of scheme, just knowing like it's been successful with that position? Oh yeah,
I think it's super exciting. This offense is like super fun, especially for tight ends. You get to do a variety of things, and it's been fun watching Kittle and in the off season, watching little cut ups of him and seeing what he's been able to do in the offense. So yeah, it's been great. It's fun to watch.
When you say just like presents a lot of opportunities for tight ends, what do you mean by that? Like,
yeah, I think it's just fun. Like, you get to do everything. You get to run routes, you get to block, you get to pass block. It's everything, So I think it's fun when you get to switch it up a little bit and do everything.
Have you worked in offense anything like this, or is a lot of this new to you?
No, yeah, a lot of it's new to me. So yeah, I've never been in an offense like this before.
The simple, obvious answer is blocking. But I mean, what specifically do you think gets you on the field and earns you, like, which part of it is the most important for what they're asking you to do?
I just feel like making plays, honestly. Whether that's, the pass game, if the ball's thrown to you, make a play, run a good route, and you can make plays in the run game too. So I just feel like you got to be able to. That's the biggest thing, is make plays so they can't take you out of the game pretty much.
And Dallin, when you talk about watching those cut-ups of Kittle over the summer, was that a thing that you did, or were those cut-ups that were provided to you by the coaching staff?
It's provided to us by the coaching staff. Like, we would watch some together every once in a while, but I just wanted to see. He's probably one of the greatest tight ends ever played. So, and he's in the same offense. So, I took it personally just to watch it and see what he was doing and how he was having success in the offense.
Has that role sort of been communicated for you as your mold here?
Right now it's just learn as much as I can and keep showing what I can do right now. So I'm sure, maybe a little later on my role will get communicated a little bit more. But right now I'm just trying to make plays while I'm out there.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you guys.
All right. That's Mr. Dallin Holker, man. It was, and listen, the Saints did a very good job of picking this guy up, man, and bring him on to the team, man. A tremendous prospect that is going to be, and y'all heard with Clancy Barone, who's our tight end coach, who coached up some of the best tight ends in the business. Y'all know the list, but spoke highly of Dallin Holker. You put on his tape and you know that the guy's going to be something, especially starting out where he is. TE1, he was getting TE3, he was getting TE1 reps as Juwan Johnson was dealing with his issue and injury. But Holker, in 4 years in college, when he was BYU, not really used to his abilities. But then, boy, when he left there after 3 years and went to Colorado State, the guy put up like 60 catches and had 15 touchdowns or something. Let me see if I can pull Dallin Holker stuff up. He had 60 plus catches, 6 touchdowns. There we go. All right, there it is. Yeah, there we go. Well, let me see if I can share this with the fam. But yeah, the Saints did a wonderful job on getting this guy here, man. And to be honest with you, this was a terrific signing by the Saints to get this undrafted tight end. And you look at the Saints tight end room, we know Juwan Johnson's 1 year contract on a 1 year deal. Mason Foster has 2 years remaining on his contract. And then the third tight end is no third tight end, is Dallin Holker. And then the tight ends behind Dallin Holker are all practice squad guys, mostly guys that are blocking tight ends. Well, I mean, he's different. This guy can block and catch. And like I said, you watch footage of Dallin Holker, he reminds me of not a completed version, but a lot of similar, like his favorite tight ends are the 3 of the best tight ends in the business. When you talk about Kels, you talk about Kittle, you talk about, I think Hawkinson is one of those you throw in there. It's those tight ends are game changers and big difference makers. Those guys can block and they can be able to catch the ball. He has a good pair of hands. He's still working on his route running, but the dude is good, man. And he's obviously going to be the future of the tight end position, especially with the Saints dealing with all these injuries. I mean, well, the cap issues, to be honest with you, over the next couple of years. So yeah, this guy is definitely a terrific find for the Saints, to be honest with you, to be able to pick that guy up and find him and bring him and put him on the team. They did a really good job on that, man. So anyway, man, hold on. Let me get us teed up back to where we were and kind of keep it moving. But yeah, it's pretty interesting, man, to say the least, hear about what they can do. So anyway, I think that was the last of the Mohicans right there from him.
Well, we got offense, obviously,
Yeah, I think that was it on.
But right now I'm just trying to make plays while I'm out there.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, let's move on to this now, fam. That was the last of the Mohicans. This is an interview queued up by NFL Insider and one of the top information brokers. That's what I call them. It's information broker Ian Rapoport, as he sat down with Aaron from the New Orleans Saints and Pelican side of things to talk about Saints camp and what he thinks about the Saints offense, stuff like that. So it's about 5 minutes. Put one in the chat if you guys can hear this nice and clear. Here we go.
Rapoport, I'm Aaron Summers. The Saints last year, 9-8, over 500. However, not the season that they were hoping for. How do you think they're going to be able to improve on that this season?
I would say probably 2 ways. Now, look, there's some things here, the infrastructure, especially defensively, really, really good. I don't think anyone has any doubts this team is going to get after you on defense. They're going to cover. They're going to attack you. I think defense is going to be, as it always is with the Dennis Allen team, defense is going to be fine. To me, this is about offensive line. Tali Fuaga was a pick that I think everyone universally really, really liked. Sounds like on the left side, it's been a pretty easy transition for him, and obviously he is super talented. Trevor Penning, obviously, been certainly a big focus, and if he can come in If he starts anywhere on the offensive line, I think that's good. If he starts at tackle, I think that's great. And it sounds like he's had a pretty good start to camp as well. So, obviously the focus on the offensive line, important. The hire of Quinn Kubiak, was one where it was so interesting to kind of track the feelings behind this, because I think if you asked a lot of people, Saints fans especially, they're probably freaking out a little bit about the offensive coordinator. It's like, are they not going to hire anyone? The reality was, like, they had a guy, his team was just very good, and he was in the playoffs. This was an offensive coordinator that I think a lot of teams wanted to hire, and the fact that he chose the Saints, I think is going to be really, really good for Derek, really good for the Saints, and I think that should lead to the improvement that they're seeking.
How are some of the players on this team going to be utilized in that new offense?
I think some of it is going to be a little more nuanced. Like you watch the 49ers, right? So we'll take some cues from there. I think you're probably going to break a few more runs because the receivers and the tight ends really, really block. They will block downfield and they will get after it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the offensive line, it's a little more sort of quickness based, and you'll see the running backs in a little more space. You'll see them make one cut and go more, which we've seen Alvin Kamara do a lot of things. I think he is going to really thrive, and I think he's probably going to see maybe a little bit bigger openings, bigger holes than he previously had seen. I think you'll see Taysom Hill play a little more tight end, maybe a little less quarterback. And certainly someone who can do it. He can do it at a lot of positions, but I think he's going to thrive too. So, a little injection of some freshness in this offense, and I think needed. I think it's really going to help.
Sure. It's definitely going to be different. It looks different already here in training camp, but something that's stood out as well is the new special teams kickoff return. I mean, that looks wild.
Yeah, I think it's going to be wild. It's going to be weird. We are accustomed, we in an NFL world are accustomed to routine, right? I mean, training camp starts when it starts. You do your tour, you come to camp, you play preseason games, it's like the routine. This is going to look different. It's out of our routine. Now, I think there's going to be some, players who are certainly going to benefit. Like, we'll see who, where it ends up being for the Saints. But, like, if, Rashid Shaheed can get in the return game a little more. He is an explosive athlete, and I think that's going to help. But it's going to look strange. But I think it's going to be more fun. And I love kickoffs. And it's always frustrating when, you're like, all right, this guy's going to kick it in. It's going to be a touchback. Use the moment to, go get a drink or use the restroom and whatever. Like, kickoffs are going to be real this year. They're going to be live, and I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're going to have to plan your time off a little bit differently during games now, for sure. Across the league, what are you following? What teams do you think are going to make kind of a jump?
Yeah, I think right now it's a lot about, contracts and how things get settled. We had on Friday, we had Jordan Love and Tua Tagovailoa signed, massive, more than $50 million annual contracts. I think, those are big deals. And, for me, crossing that off, getting it off the to-do list, I think is helpful. For those guys, securing their life and their livelihood is awesome. And, two young, great players that get paid. I think there's a bunch of other deals still out there. Cowboys have a holdout. 49ers have a holdout and a hold in, some of those issues across the league. I think as far as teams, you're always looking for, who's going to make the jump. I would say Texans and Bears are probably in the same, different category, but same category where, both showed flashes last year. Texans maybe more so, but I think both teams could take a little bit of a leap this year.
How exciting do you think the Broncos game against the Saints is going to be?
Those games are always, I think the week of, it's going to be awesome. And then
why? Because the media is going to hype it up so much?
Yeah, well, media is going to hype it up so much, and Sean is going to make sure that we don't. And I always enjoy that sort of give and take. But, when it's actually football, I think it'll be a game. But the reactions after will be interesting, too. I remember when it was Bill Belichick versus Tom Brady again, and all week it was like, it's a business, it's a game, and everything was fine. It was a good game, but it just played out like it did, whatever. And then afterward, Belichick spent an hour in the locker room talking to Brady, by himself in a quiet room, and you're like, it means more.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this will kind of be like. Everyone would tell us it's just kind of whatever, but at the end, even Sean Payton will be like, that was pretty special.
Yeah, there is a lot to look forward to this season. We're just getting started right here at Saints training camp. Ian, thank you so much for joining us, and
Absolutely.
Good luck the rest of the training. I know you're going to be all over the place.
All right, that's it is right there. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for that, and the top information broker in the business. letting it be known, man, about what's going on with the Saints and Saints camp, giving a little breakdown about what the offense looked like. And like I said, you look at some of the film, you can, and one of the family members made a good comment about looking at the 49ers style, and it's different styles, man, and of that offense. Some of it a little bit more, explosive, but it's a very interesting style. Like it's just about trickery and not so much trickery, but just forcing you to just you just blitz by, just what are you doing? You got this guy going this way. And like, if you have a team with all of these phenomenal players with speed, like you talk about Rashid Shaheed with that world-class speed that he has, Chris Olave still can get, he'll take off on you. Taysom Hill is another guy that's extremely fast. Alvin Kamara he has an extra gear too. Don't forget he's still very elusive and quick. And then you have other players that you could throw in there as well. But when you have so many game-changing players on your squad, man, you can look at this offense and what they're trying to do and opening up these wide lanes to operate. It's going to be special. And even the wide receivers talked about the added extra of blocking downfield. Like, that's a main component of that system, because they want to, and Benton talked about this before, not just with the Saints, but there's other videos of him talking about systems from prior stops that he's implementing here. Like, it is not only just opening up the lanes, but getting to a certain point and cutting off pursuit, which allows guys to use their speed to get to the next level and on to a touchdown. You don't have to worry about too much of these guys, chasing you, whatever. Not with if you got Rashid Shaheed doing this and Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill, and dude, that's why I was saying about the offense that a lot of people have questions about whether they can implement it, but it's not something that you pack those guys with, just throw it at them. Like Kubiak said, that you teach it to them in phases, and getting that together just to get that going in terms of getting those zone runs and setting all that up. It's going to be fun, man. Like I said, we got to see this right away, man. We got to see this right away. All right. Big ups to the fam. Big Valley, how you doing, fam? Appreciate you being in the stream. Divine Eternity, what's up, my brother? How you doing, sir? Says Shaheed is my favorite receiver. All right. Thank you, fam. Appreciate you. All right. Jack says ditto on that. Tuck says Kubiak looked at the pieces of the Saints offense before he took the job. Yeah. And that's why they asked him, hey, man, why'd you go? Because he didn't have to do that. That's what's the thing. Like, man, you don't understand, this is a pressure cooker. If you fail, you more than likely you're gonna get fired. And usually some people like look at that and like, I don't know about that. I might have to go and get an apartment or something and rent out, because I don't think I won't buy a house right away. You see, and he had a passenger. He had he was a passing game coordinator for the Niners, and he was sitting on the staff. He good. Eventually, he more than likely would get an opportunity, but under this type of environment, these type of circumstances, most people are like, I don't like that. I'm going to pass. Kubiak says, you know what? I'll take that, because I could win with that. That's Alvin Kamara. That's like Christian McCaffrey. They got Taysom Hill. That's cool. That's use check. Same shit we was saying, like when it was like, man, AK-41, Christian McCaffrey. Taysom Hill, Kyle Juszczyk. And the pieces kind of fit. Now, your wide receivers look different. Your wide receivers definitely look different when you talk about what they have versus what we have. It's a bit of difference there, but still the talent's there. And then you got, Kittles at the tight end. We got Juwan Johnson. So, in Juwan Johnson's another dude we thought could be really good. Remember what was this, a couple years ago? It was the year before this year, when Juwan Johnson had 10 touchdowns? He was third or fourth in the NFL in touchdowns. Remember, he didn't have the catches, but he had the touchdowns. He was up there with the top people. And I remember that. So I was like, man, Juwan Johnson's up there with some of the best tight ends in the game. Oh, let me see if I can pull Juwan's statistics up, man. He had 7. Yeah, it was in 2022. He had 7 touchdowns. He was averaging 12 yards per catch, and that was his best year at the date. He had 42 catches off of 65 targets and 508 yards, by far his best season as a Saint. And at some point, he was third, I want to say third or fourth in terms of touchdowns among some of the best tight ends in the game. And we were like, man, he going to take that jump. And then last year he kind of slipped a bit and dropped down, where he had 4 touchdowns in the game, but he dealt with different things and communication issues last year. So, you know, he didn't take the jump that we thought he was going to get. And now he has 1 year left. And usually when you're on that 1 year left, you kind of pack it in. You do whatever you got to do to ball out so you can get a respectable contract for the following year. So you got AK-41s, Paulson Adebo, Juwan Johnson, Pete Werner, on and on and on. These are impactful players on your team right now. And not to mention the free agents you just signed for 1 year deals, Chase Young, Willie Gay Jr. You bringing in these guys on 1 year deals on prove it's too. So, man, I wonder what the Saints are going to look like next year, brother, after this is going on. All right, a few more questions here. Jack says 49er style misdirection, so you get to step on guys and scheming guys open lanes for the running attack. Indeed, bro. Force that defense to kind of tip their hat toward you to see what they're going to do. M. Dot says in the center of all that stands Derek freaking Carr, LOL. No, and that's the point. That like and that's the issues that a lot of the Whodats and the diehards have an issue with. Number one, they don't trust Carr. Now, it don't got nothing to do with his personality. People always, and I think that's purposefully, people like, man, well, I don't know why they don't hate on Carr. Carr is a good dude. Not talking about his personality. You know, when he's away from football, all I care about is football. Unless what you're doing off the field impacts your football, like you getting arrested or doing something silly, that's the only time you would say, hold on, bro. You get what I'm saying? But if it's something on the field and we're talking about football, right? Yes, that's an issue because Derek Carr's first year with the Saints, statistically speaking, didn't look bad, but that's only half the story, if that. If you look at the games, many of the games just didn't look good. You know, a lot of the stuff was disjointed, inconsistent, and it left a sour taste in the mouths of a lot of the Whodats. The blame game, like him fussing at wide receivers, he cussed at Pete Carmichael several times. And apologized several times. Why, I cuss at you. You no good son of a. I'm sorry, man. I was So it's So he kind of had that going on with him. It was just not a good look. McCoy almost made him touch. McCoy was almost got upset. I never seen McCoy get upset and do that to anybody, but he pissed off McCoy that time. Hurst had to step in between them. Remember that? And it was just like some crap. So in the second year, I can applaud him for attempting to build more of a family type of feel and the camaraderie with the players off the field, because that's a good thing to do. That's a positive thing to do. And I think, can he become a better player? Well, what makes Derek Carr become a better player this upcoming season that he didn't exhibit last year? Or if he did exhibit it, he didn't exhibit it consistently enough where it impacted the team in a positive fashion. And then you got to couple that with the fact that he was dealing with injuries, a toe up shoulder, several broken ribs that was going on with him. He was pumped up with painkiller, which I sorely disagree with how they did him and rolled him out there like that. And then all of the miscommunication issues that was going on during the live games, it was just ridiculous. So how do you fix that? Because me personally, looking at film and doing the play-by-play, what they're doing is they basically, I don't want to say they rebuilding them, but what do you call it when you are working on a 10-year, or now in his 11th year, veterans footwork, progressions, and timing? They basically, I ain't gonna say they reconstructing them, but they're just speeding them up, making him process things faster, because that's what it's got to be. He has to process the game faster. He has to get the ball out. And that's the sticking point that they even talked about in camp today, or with the emphasis on timing and Carr getting rid of the ball and him throwing these touchdowns today. And don't get me wrong, a lot of these drills he was doing, it wasn't really no pressure on him to do it. It's not, it's just they're going through the drills or whatnot. Things look a lot differently when you got guys from the opposite side of the team that's not your teammates running around there trying to tear your head off. So they trying to speed Derek Carr up. That's the answer in their minds, is from what I'm seeing, is because you speed Carr up to keep him on time with the offense. You give him a running attack. And usually in most cases, the tight end is a safety blanket for the quarterback. So you have Juwan Johnson that should be healthy for the regular season. He'll be there. You can get all of these guys on time, and and we know there'll be some wrinkles early on, but you still got to win. You got to win while you have the wrinkles, and ironing out the wrinkles, you still have to win. It don't have to be pretty, but at the end of the day, it got to count as a W. You can't fall behind, because I'm thinking like the pressure of the expectations, even though they don't care about, and you've heard that several times, that the New Orleans Saints brass, which is just Mickey Loomis, because nobody else is talking like that. It's just him saying that, and Dennis Allen, that they're not worrying about any expectations outside of the building, which is ridiculous, because you need the people outside of the building to support what you got going on, but you're not worrying about the expectations. If it's the New Orleans Saints is your team, as they like to tell you, then you are going to be concerned about my expectations, or you're not going to get my damn support. How dare they talk like this to the support base? Some people like, it's all right, they can disrespect the piss out of me, I don't give a damn. That's not me. That's not me. That's the same dude. His woman stepping on him and everything, man. People stealing money out of his bank account, shit out of his house, if he got a house, if he don't stay with his mama. But no, that's not how it goes on, fam. We're a little bit more advanced and sophisticated than to understand when we being disrespected. You gonna worry about these expectations. That's the pressure of the who that's and going into Dennis Allen's third year. He has to get it together. He got to win. The fact that the Super Bowl is down here, you can't find a bigger sense of motivation outside the support base telling you need to get up off your ass and change things and make it pop. We don't want to hear it no more. And then, of course, the pressure if you fall behind. Man, I almost pity the team if they fall behind early. Like if it's a 3-game dip, like if something happened where the Saints are 2 to 3 games, not just 2 games, I think will be all right, but 3 or more games behind their wins, they like 1-3 or something like that. Then, I'm telling you, if that ain't enough to keep you on your ass and get you up off your ass, don't let that happen, whatever you do, because when that happens, oh boy, the pressure gonna boil them like an egg. It's gonna boil Dennis Allen. Then you're gonna see that, he got that possum face. You don't see it right now because he happy. No games are being played. So, but boy, if something like that happen, you're gonna see him start resembling more of a possum. Then he gonna be resembling a weasel. Then he gonna be resembling a anteater. And then it's just gonna turn into some weird alien creature, and he's gonna pull his mask off and say I quit. But it's gonna be awful, man. To be honest with you, man, it's gonna be so. Like I said, I think the Saints they're gonna be all right with this offense. We just need to do what we got to do. But boy, I don't want to see that possum face that Dennis Allen makes. It look like a dead possum in the face. That's what he look. I call him possum puss. When they lose, and then he got that possum face, boy, that you don't want to see that, man. We don't want to see none of that. All right, what's up, CeeLo? How you doing, sir? Appreciate you, man, for being here. But yeah, indeed, man, it's going to be fun this year watching the Saints, because I call it this the moment of truth, fam. This the moment of truth for the black and gold, man. This the moment of truth. For the last several years, we heard Mickey Loomis, disparage a lot of the support base. Oh, well, you're not qualified. You're unqualified. First, I'm not qualified, then you're unqualified. All this kind of nonsense and boobery, foolishness, idiocy, dumb, crazy, back ass talk. And that just puts more pressure on you to step up and do what you're supposed to do. But like I said, man, I think the team, I just don't want to waste away the window of DeMario and Cam and Tyrann Mathieu. I think we got a good collection of people. The NFC South is up for grabs. It's not like they have a perennial champion there and they got an all-world cast. That's not what's going on here. Each one of these teams are going to play for it, but the Saints have a big chance of claiming the NFC South than anybody. They got all the talent needed. It's just a lot of times last year, it was the team that they shot themselves in the foot. A lot of the games, they shot themselves in the foot. Like I was telling y'all about that Detroit Lions game. I was listening to that one on the playback yesterday, I want to say. Friday, I was listening to it. Or was it the day before? Yeah, it was Friday. I was listening to the play-by-play that we did here on the channel. And man, the Saints came back in that game and had the momentum and everything. And then I said in the broadcast, man, okay, we start in the fourth quarter. This is the money quarter. We don't need no issues, no problems. We need to go ahead and take this momentum and take it on home. First play of the fourth quarter was a fumble on the weirdest play, probably one of the weirdest plays in the season, not the final play of the season, which was the fake, the touchdown run that they don't like. When Derek Carr, Hurst pokes the ball out of Derek Carr's hand, and Derek Carr still moves like he has the ball in his hand. And then when he gets to Alvin Kamara, he looks in his hands and be like, "Where's the ball?" Like, what? It was a very weird play. And that right there, that was the end right there. Because they fumbled the ball away to Detroit. Detroit scores, and then that killed the momentum, the Saints, and then Detroit just kind of did what they did and wore out the clock for the rest of the game, and Saints lost the matchup. But that's what I'm saying. In the games, when you expect it to win, you have to have that change of the philosophy shift in the game. Like I said, you have the talent. You can compete against anybody in the NFL, any top team. The Saints can't compete with them. We could play with anybody when we on our game. We can't beat in the Chiefs or the Cowboys or the Falcons if we beating ourselves. We can't do it. We had pre-snap penalties, like a play where they had 3 straight false starts. Remember that play? One of them was McCoy. 2 of them was McCoy. There wasn't 3 straight. It was like in 4 plays, 3 false starts. McCoy was twice, and I forgot who the third guy was. But yeah, you can't do that. Like, you got to have it here. And at times when the Saints will be at that point where they can jump ahead and the game will be like in your possession, it's right in front of you. All you have to do is put your hands around it and possess it. They will fumble it. They'll just drop it. And that's the mentality that has to change, because when you get in situations, you got to know that you're going to win. It's a mindset. It's a winner's mindset. Like, we get to the point of the game, the moment is not bigger than you. That's who wins in life, period. The moment is not bigger than you. Matter of fact, you salivate and you sit there and you waiting for the moment. You like sitting at the window, say, come on, I'm ready. I'm ready. Like, you ready for the moment to happen because you expect it. You're like, yeah, come on. Just give me a chance. I'm ready. You're ready for the moment. And then when the moment hits, you're like, there it is. And you go all in. You see, that's what the winners do. The winners know, man, the moment is never bigger than them. That's how you possess it. You can't pick up nothing bigger than you, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to possess it. You got to be bigger than the moment. And that's the champion's mindset, man. You can't beat a champion unless you have the champion mindset. And the mindset is no moment that is successful is bigger than me. That's how it goes. All right, Tuck says, Carr's biggest problem is consistency. That's right, Q. Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. That's the thing. Do we have the right collection of coaches that can get Derek Carr's game together? That's what it comes down to, right? Do we have that right collection of players? I mean, of assistant coaches now. We know the personality. We've listened to, I've played multiple interviews from Clint Kubiak as of recent. I've played John Benton. I've played Andrew Janoku. I played the running backs coach, Coach Foster, Coach Williams, who's the wide receiver coach, heard from him, played him. And when you focus on the QB, which is Derek Carr, is Andrew Janoku and Clint Kubiak the right coaches to get him his timing and his stuff? Like they said, he was working on his footwork. his progressions. And that's the biggest thing I had a problem with. Like his timing was off, and I often said that during the season. I like, he functions like he doesn't have a clock in his head. And that's one of the things that we realized by watching Drew Brees. And Drew Brees was very articulate about his style. Drew was one of them dudes that gave you the game. He wasn't an Aaron Rodgers type. You know, like if he had a guy behind him, he ain't going to tell him nothing. Nah, Drew Brees would lace all of these guys with game. You know, he would tell you what he do to be successful. He could tell them all day. Most of them can't do it. You know, they don't have the discipline to keep up a stringent work ethic like a Drew Brees to be great. You don't just happen on being great. You got to have a great mindset, and then all physicality follows. It's how it works on the higher level. The mental is dominant over everything. Like if you got a shitty philosophy of life and a degenerate low mentality in life, don't be surprised if you get those results in your life. If like you dealing with people that you look at and you just look across the room and says, how the hell I'm dealing with that person? Don't get listen. Don't get up there and be mad at that guy or that old girl sitting over there, you know, that you with. Hell, you drew them to you. So if you don't like them, you drew that person. You're not going to draw. You see what I'm saying? You're going to draw to you what you are, what you believe, whether that's bad or good. That's how the universe works. That's how the Most High created it. So if you want things that you don't possess, all this in here, you got to get rid of all that. And see, most of the time when you tell people that, they be like, I'm good. Or go half-ass at it. That's the difference. When Drew could tell you something about life or what he do to practice, and he'll listen. Well, Drew told me this, but did you do it? Yeah, I did it half-ass. I mean, I did this and that. But you'll see results. Great people have great work ethics, great mentality. It sticks out like a sore thumb because not everybody operates on that level, even though most people want to be great. But are you willing to go about the steps that's needed to shape your mind, to make the disciplines and the sacrifices that you need to be great? Everybody want to be great, but everybody can't go up there. But it's for everybody. It really is. But everybody can't go up there. You get that? Did you get that? Did you get it? Talk, boy! That's what I'm saying, man. So at the end of the day, man, that's what we want to be. We want to have that mentality. We want to get up there and be Super Bowl champions. The only way to do it is we got to change all this up in here. And we got to get rid of all of the errors that stop us from doing what we got to do. That's what it come down to. The winner's mentality, fam. The champion mindset. The champion mindset. Richard says, if you look at the offense by position groups, it does not look as strong as if it does if you looked at it as a whole. When you say K, Olave, Rashid, Hill, I know. See, that's right, Richard. It's the culmination of all of those guys. The individual parts make the whole. And when you speak of all of them and all of the things that they do, the defenses have to deal with those guys all at the same time, not one at a time. So if the defense got Chris Olave over here, your best guy, and Rashid's over here, and Taysom's over here, and Elvin's back there, the defense has to kind of say, well, what's going on here? You know, they got a bit of, they freaking out. Or what's going on here? Because there's so many players out there. They're not going to have enough. You got playmakers and game changers. You got to, if you have playmakers and game changers, you have to have playmakers and game changers to challenge them. You can't have no regular guy running around there, jumping out there thinking he going to stop Alvin Kamara. He going to get embarrassed. It takes playmakers and game changers to stop playmakers and game changers. It really does. And when you have those mismatches there, you're going to see some great stuff happen, man, for you. That's what it is. Tuck says there were some O-line problems too. Yeah, I know there was plenty of offensive line problems. You're right. Yeah. It improved later on in the year. Sean says, I don't trust Carr either. He panics when the pocket break down. He got tore up, bro. That's what he did the deer in the headlight look. He had that a lot last year because he was rattled back there. Like I said, he got broken up pretty bad in the Green Bay game. I thought he was done for at least 2 games. The Saints rolled him out there. The man went to the hospital. They were X-ran this. I remember all of this. And I was saying to myself, man, they took him. They took him on a cart when he got hurt. They put him on a cart, took him out. That was it. Jameis came in the game, right? And we know how the result ended. But when they took Carr to the hospital and x-rayed his chest, his ribs, and all that. When they reported that, I said, man, this dude broken up pretty bad. I wouldn't be surprised if he be out for like multiple games. Not so. The next game, they had Derek Carr back in, and I was like, it's no way. And they was asking him, is Derek Carr's all right? Oh yeah, he's fine. Oh, he's just, he had a little discomfort. He's all right. Oh yeah, hell yeah. Then it come, and I was like, man, something not right here, because when you seen him throw the ball, you can see that the touch wasn't on the ball. The ball sailed. It floated. Like he would throw the ball and the ball would either be too high or a little too far wide or thrown too low because he was numbed up. He was trying. And you see during the games when he started off, he would be trying to rip it because he didn't have much feeling in there. He was pumped up with painkillers, and it came out. He said it at the end of the year that it was up until a certain interview where he couldn't do anything. He had to rehab the majority of the offseason because he couldn't do nothing. He said he couldn't raise his arm. He couldn't do anything. He had to rehab. And he said, if it wasn't for the shots, I couldn't play football. They had him and he was shooting. He even said that he shot him multiple shots. So he was getting shots. Like you put a shot here, shoot some painkiller here, put some painkiller right here, put painkiller here and painkiller here. Wasn't just the ribs. He had a shoulder issues. He got shot with painkiller here. And you see during the games, he was ripping the ball trying to get feeling because that's what it looks like on film. The ball would sail here and it wouldn't be exactly spot on because that's that painkiller. Then you see his eyes bucking and shit like that. And I was like, man, we knew it. And at the same time, Saints was lying their ass off talking about that man was all good. And they didn't tell you. We were saying it the whole time. This dude got broken ribs. He busted up. We were saying that shit the whole time. They crunching him up. He rolls over to the fetal position. One dude ran past him and just the defensive back trying to swipe at the ball, hit him on his ribs. He bends over in intense pain. I said, that dude's got busted ribs, man. But you let the Saints tell it ain't a damn thing wrong with him. He just got a little discomfort there. And then they didn't tell your ass nothing until 2 weeks before the end of the season that he had all this so they can then spin it for excuses. Well, Derek Carr was hurt. That's bullshit, man. Bull. 49ers offense is less read, so we know if Carr doesn't know it because the ball should be coming out quick, not holding the ball. It covers up a lot of the issues that we seen last year. And, of course, Derek Carr was still learning the system, to be fair to Carr, because I think I'm as fair as I can get with Carr when I talk about the injuries he sustained, because a lot of people don't believe he was hurt. I just think that's not true. I also recognize the failings of the offensive line, which was ran by Doug Marrone. I also recognize the failings of the system that was ran by the Mickey Mouse's brother, Pete Carmichael, eating the cheese in the corner. I also recognize that. So it was a lot of people that was at fault because Carmichael, who was supposed to, him and Ronald Curry was supposed to see the issues that Derek Carr was doing and help him fix those issues. Like you would see times where Derek Carr would possess the ball like he didn't have a clock in his head. He didn't go through like what Drew Brees would say, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and get rid of the ball. Whether he's checking it down, going through his progressions, taking his time, and that's what Drew Brees would do. He would go patiently through his progressions. He'd go for it and see what he can find out there. When you stare down half the field like he did a great deal of time last year, you're missing opportunities. Half the field you're missing. You missing targets there. That's why a lot of the wide receivers was getting frustrated with him. But they were trying to play it like the wide receivers was on some other stuff. And I'm like, no, they're frustrated because if you go and watch the all 22, it was showing that. We covered that. On Patreon, we broke it down. I'm like, what is the... Because a lot of the check downs were stupid. He checked the ball down and they have a wide receiver that was one-on-one matchup with no safety support on the right side. All 22 proved. I was like, why didn't he? What's this about? People were frustrated because he was violating fundamentals, which was you're supposed to progress. You're supposed to go through the progressions. These guys are not going to play that shit with him. You're not going to play that. Plus the fact that it is still a very positive thing that you have young quarterbacks that's in the building, like a Jake Haener and a Spencer Rattler, that are having solid camps. They're just not like guys. It's like such and such. they're seen as a potential future with these guys that are there. So it's good for them to have that, for him to have them over his shoulder, even though we're not anticipating them challenging him for it. It's no way. It's his team because he makes the money. They're just backups. No matter how good they can play, they can become Joe Montana and Steve Young playing in practice in preseason. It still won't mean nothing to them because the money they be paying Derek Carr. You check? He's $150 million. You got to justify the money or reap the pressure of why you paying them, and you got young guys out playing them. Not saying that's the case. But Derek Carr, as a quarterback, has a certain set of skills that benefit the Saints, like we talked about before he got here. That he has a very good deep ball. He's a really solid deep ball, throwing that deep ball. That's his best throw. He loves whipping the deep ball. He had a strong arm to throw it out there, and you do have weapons that can go and get the ball. So like I'm saying, man, it's going to be fun watching that happens. But like I said, you got to give him not a strong line, but a competent line. You can't have him as the source of the offense because he doesn't know that well enough for him to run the offense, for him to be throwing the ball 40 times in a game like they did last year. I'm like, what are they doing that for? Well, they was doing that because Saints couldn't run the damn ball. So they had to put it on him. When they happened, then that's when they were supposed to make the changes on the offensive line. They couldn't even run the ball effectively. So they had to lean on Carr in even after the Green Bay game when he was tore up. Sad. But in the end, we have to understand that the pathway to success for the Saints early on, and perhaps later on we can get the play action thing going, is we have to run that football. That has to be a foundational piece in the success going into the season. We got to run the ball, and we got to run it good. Today in practice, they were running the ball really good. They was operating the wide zones good. I seen the footage on there. They were doing really good in camp today doing that. And we need to continue to build on that going into the season. We really do, All right. Divine says 49 says, man, nobody's QB in the Super Bowl more than one. Occasion Big Bull says speed him up so he won't get thinking and do something stupid. Indeed, fam. All right. Tuck says Q. Don't say it. All right. Shout out to you. Richard says, I agree with Haley on Carr, but Rich Gannon was a 10-year vet backup, never doing anything. He got with Bird in his offense, and he was the best QB in the league for 2 or 3 years and went to the Super Bowl. Rich Gannon had a lot of positive stuff shaking on, man. He was one of the legends over there, did a lot of positive stuff for them. Not too many accolades as Rich Gannon, but he's among the greats in Raider lore, and I got respect for Raider Nation, man. I really do. Tragic, what's up, Tragic? Shout out to my dog. Tragic says we don't want to hear you look no more. No more looking no more, huh? Yeah, Dennis Allen says a lot of looking, man. But we it's going to be interesting. I think we do have the right collection of coaches to fix the offense. I'm just going to keep it real with you. Why? Because these guys are serious. They understand the environment they're in, meaning if they don't win this year, that they're going to clear them out of there. The Super Bowl in the city of New Orleans and all that. Before that, I mentioned is the fact that the Who Dat Nation demands it. We demand that. We're not playing this year, man. We don't want to hear any more excuses about nothing. We don't want to hear the excuses. I don't want to hear it. Jack says, I'm tripping, but Hurst was pulling on that play when he knocked the ball out. Right? That's right. It was James Hurst. James Hurst was pulling, I think, toward the left. I think he was pulling left because Carr was turning. Carr was turning into Kamara to hand Kamara the ball. And Hurst was pulling in a direction where Kamara was, because he was supposed to be the back. He was going to be the lineman leading the block, and Kamara would follow him. And Hurst came out from his position, and his hands was like this, and his hands just poked the ball. But Derek Carr had the ball very loosely. He gripped the ball, possessed the ball from up under the center, and had it in both his hands, and was holding it until he got to Alvin Kamara. He was holding it kind of loose, and Hurst with his fingers just poked it out. But the weird part about it is, if Derek Carr had reacted there, he could have saved the ball. For whatever reason, he just pretended. I don't know. If y'all remember this play, put 1, because it's and I've said this before, it's one of the weirdest plays. Let me play it for y'all. It was one of the weirdest plays that I ever seen from last year. Hold on here. It was very weird because the ball is out of his hands and he is moving like the ball is still in his hands. And when he gets where Kamara is to give him the ball, he looks in his hands and then looks around his feet. And I was like, what's going on here? How did you, and my first question was, how did you not know the ball? You know, it was weird. I'm like, how do you not know the ball is not in your hands? Until it was very weird. I can't explain it, man. I can't explain it. It was just very weird. It's a very weird play. It was a very weird play. You know, it was very weird. Let me see if I can find because it was against the Lions. I might not be able to find it just because I want it, man. Because like I said, it was a very weird play. Hold on here. It was very weird. And I was like, what the hell just happened here? Hold on, fam. Let me see if I can find. Now I ask a few more questions, then I'm gonna kind of dirk out. I gotta get ready for my boxing stuff that's going on. I'm kind of watching the prelims while I'm talking to y'all, man. Some of the other card, the less popular fights on the undercard. Hold on here, let me see. I can't find it for whatever reason. Ain't that cold? Just because I want to see it. Hold on here. Here go the highlights right here. Maybe they got it there. Hold on, let me see. I go to the park. It was the first play of the fourth quarter. That's what it was. It was the first play of the fourth quarter. It was weird. Hold on, let me see if there it is. I got it here. But I want to make sure they kind of did the replay on it. Dennis Allen was pissed about it, though, but it didn't show it correctly. It didn't zoom in on the play. They just show it happening. You can't see the close-up on it. Hold on. Let me see if I can kind of slow it down a bit. Because it was very weird, man. It was a weird play. Hold on, fam. Let me see if I can share this screen with y'all. Hold on. It was a very weird play. Like, you can't even see it on this one, man. I'm going to have to see if I can find a better close-up of it here. But it was a very weird play to me. It was the first play of the fourth quarter. And it was a play in which Carr, like right here, the ball is out. The ball is out right here. It's on the ground. And Derek Carr turns to Alvin Kamara for whatever reason without the ball. And then he turns around and like, hold on, where's the ball? And I'm like, how do you get that far away from the line and not realize that you don't have the football? It was very weird, man. It was weird. The ball was gone at the snap and it was very weird. I was like, I don't know how you do that. It don't make any sense for him. I just don't, that play still baffles me to this day. Here it is right here. The first play of the fourth quarter. As you can see, they're lining up. Now, of course, I was looking for the actual play itself to break down or closer. Look right here. The ball's gone. The ball is snapped. How do you get that far away from the line and then realize you don't have the ball when you about to toss it to Alvin Kamara? The ball was gone and he's 4 or 5 yards from where the ball is. And then he turns around and the ball is fair. I was like, dude, you got to be kidding me. They don't even do a replay on it. And Alvin like, man, what's up? And Carr just looking like, then he points. You seen him point at somebody? he quick to blame or something, bitch. That would he quick to blame. It was a very strange play, man. It was a very strange play, man. He pointed, Hurst did it. But it's just what it is. We got that kind of bullshit. I don't want to see it next year, man. I really don't want to see that, man. I don't want to see that kind of shenanigans. That was crazy, man. That was the weirdest play besides, like, I guess you could say the goal line when they went for the touchdown, and snuck them on the last play against the Falcons. But to me, that's the weirdest play of the season last year when Carr had lost the ball at the line of scrimmage and pretended to have the ball when he rolled out to toss it to Alvin, only to turn around 5 yards from the play and say, where the ball at? Oh, he got it. He did it. It's like, dude. Oh, Jack said it was scripted for sure. Yeah, that was. How do you explain that, man? That don't even make sense. It don't even look right. But that's the shit that I catch. Like, it's like a glitch in the Matrix. Like, if you watch the Matrix movies, if you're familiar with Neo and Matrix and all those kind of stuff, you remember the glitch in the Matrix is represented by deja vu. Like, if you see a black cat walking like they showed you in the movie, and then the same scene, the black cat walks again in the same area, and he's like, oh, that's weird, deja vu. And then Trinity says, what did you say? Well, I just seen that cat, and I seen the one that looked just like it. And then she got on the phone right quick, and she's like, what was going on? It's like, usually when you see that, the agents made a change somewhere, and a trap was set for them, and then they ambushed them. So, I mean, it's like a glitch in the Matrix. All right, yeah, that was a glitch, big time glitch. I was like, man, what is? I'm good at catching them glitches, man. That didn't make any sense to me how that worked, man. So please, none of that shit next year. All right, Rich said the emphasis is going to be interesting if they ever assumes the Niners will be the top seed because they've been good for 3 or 4 years now, but could regress and give others a chance. Anything possible, right? Indeed. Willie says because he was high, because he was shot up on that painkiller. Yes. All right. Big Bull says Rattler or Hainer. I'm going to go Hainer on this one, bro. Hainer is doing good, man. Hainer is inspired, man. He's not letting, Hainer's so inspired, man. He's not letting cancer stop him. So think about that. If cancer has no chance against, if he beating cancer, Rattler don't have a chance. That's larger than life right there. And prayers to him because he's supposed to have a procedure done too. All right, Pelican said Pelican knows said Derek Carr might be shell shocked with Trevor Penning at right tackle. I don't think so, bro. I think the philosophy is to run the ball. So as long as we running the ball like we supposed to, and you heard Jahri Evans. Jahri Evans talked about Penning. The media has done a really good job of centralizing questions to Trevor Penning. Like, everybody has a good opinion of Tali Fuaga. You see him in the drills. He's a rookie, and he's progressing as well as any rookie could. And then you look at Penning and the question with Trevor Penning, because he's in his 3rd year. This is Trevor Penning's 3rd year here at right tackle. So they asked him about, how's he doing, such and such. And the reporter asked him, I think that was Doug Mouton. Shout out to Doug Mouton. Asked him, he says, how's his confidence? How's he doing? And Jahri, oh yeah, he's, such and such. So the talking point is that Trevor Penning's, from a outwards perspective, is playing with confidence. And his confidence is growing. His confidence is fine. So, because he is one of the question marks. A lot of people not too much worried about Tali Fuaga, but Trevor Penning is the focalized point for a lot of people in the Saints, along the Saints offensive line. Like, how is Trevor Penning going to do? And me personally, I think Trevor Penning's going to be all right at the right side. I really do. I said that before they switched him. When I was saying they need to switch him because he don't need to be over there. Ram should be over there before they told you about the injury. I was the one saying, hey man, don't do that to him. Play him over here. I think he will do better at that side. But what about your left guard? How you feel about the left guard position? How's the left guard? Do you like the left guard? Who's your left guard? That's another point. We look at the 2 inexperienced tackles, yes, but you got an inexperienced left guard too. How does that look towards you? Is it Nick Saldiveri who can't seem to stay healthy? Is it Lucas Patrick? Is it Shane Lemieux? Is it Ali Udoh? I don't know who it's going to be, but at the end of the day, man, it's also something you got to pay attention to as well. All right. Yes, indeed. Richard says for the first 12 games, offense looks so out of sync. It did. It took them. It was, bro, 12 games is 3 months. It's 4 games a month. 4 games a month. a game each week. That's 3 months of out of sync football that the Saints, and then they talk about, well, you know what, them last 5 games we were cooking. What about the rest of them? What happened there? Well, you see. So, I mean, yeah, 3 months of funky football, man. That's not good. All right. What's up, Randy? Shout out to you. Says Rattler been ripping it lately. He been looking good, man. I got to give it to him. But Jake Hayner's been really solid. Like I said, Jake Hayner's been playing really well. So even though Spencer Rattler just got the talent, Spencer's still a rookie. Still got a lot to learn. Jake Hayner has a year on him. And it's not just a year, it's a lot of stuff. The experience of being in the NFL, of talking to people. He spent that summer working with John Gruden, and it's obviously helped him because his confidence is different. You know, he's processing things, and that's been Spencer Rattler's gift, is that he's always been a high IQ football player. He's in terms of his athletic gifts, he never was he'll woo you with his scrambling ability or his arm. That was never the case. Which was really big on Spencer Rattler is Jake Hayner is his IQ of the game. That's how he was able to produce at Fresno State. You know, he can throw the ball. He got tight, he got a good tight spiral when he rips it, but he don't have a great big old arm, but he still piled on a boatload of stats in Fresno State because of his IQ, knowing what to do. And most players know that. Like some of these guys don't have, blazing speeds. They're not all the Lamar Jackson athletic, skill set. They might not have the big arm like a Derek Carr would not, but for those guys, they have to be cunning. They have to be able to have a high IQ, because a lot of those other guys, they rely a lot on their attributes, strong arm, strength, the athleticism. But for a guy that doesn't have a lot of what they have this, they have to overdo it on this to survive when you have all these other guys that do have attributes that are God-given and you don't have that. So your gift is different. Jake Hayner is a high IQ football player, and you can tell if he's processing the game and doing what he does there. I mean, I think Jake Hayner stays ahead of Spencer Rattler for now. So it looks like that right now. Kuveda says, I don't know, Q Rattler's getting all the press, and yeah, they talking about press, right? Because the press recognizes that there is a dislike for Derek Carr. A lot of the Who Dat Nation doesn't like Derek Carr. They don't like Derek Carr. They don't believe in Derek Carr. They don't. It's what it is. So they're looking for options. I'm not saying that he's not playing well enough to deserve spotlight, but it's the third quarterback. You know what I'm saying? He's a third quarterback. He doesn't have a chance to start this year unless injuries rip the team apart and they have to throw Spencer in there, which I wish they don't, because remember the last time we did something like that, that was Ian Book. That didn't turn out too good. So hopefully they get Carr up the code and we do what we got to do. But a lot of that's driven. The sentiment is they looking past Derek Carr. They for real. And that's just how a lot of people feel. That's what I get. A lot of people don't like Derek Carr in the Who Dat Nation. The Raider people might, man, Derek Carr, good. He did this for your friend. He did that for your franchise, fam. But I mean, he's following one of the greatest QBs that ever put it on. This is a Hall of Famer he got down here. So when you take $150 million and come to the Who Dat Nation, of course you stepping in the building where you had greats. You got to live up on that level. If not, don't come here, because you're just gonna get your issue. So I mean, it's a lot of people don't like him. That's why a lot of the sentiment. Rattler is doing good. Not to take no shine away from the young player, because he is doing good. So is Jake Hayner. But like I said, a lot of that is people not really taken back by Derek Carr. It's just what it is, man. All right. Yeah. Richard says, pinning footwork just seems slow. Indeed. Well, that could be true, bro. Big Bull says Rattler gonna have trouble beating Hayner out. Our future is bright. Yes, indeed. We got competition. Hemisphere says, Q, if Carr gets injured, do you think Kubiak wouldn't hesitate to start Hayner or Rattler should Carr miss a few games? I don't think he hesitated at all. When they put Nate Peterman in the street, that let me know right now they feeling comfortable about both these guys, especially Jake Hayner. Jake Hayner showed them enough to say, you know what, let's put Nate Peterman in the street. That was a big, chop off right there early on, because we usually don't get that till later on once the games happen, and then you start whittling the team down when the Saints cut Nate Peterman. That let me know they are very comfortable with Jake Haener as a backup. He showed enough of it to say, you know what, man, Jake looks good, man. We trust Jake Haener as our backup. So yeah, that was big, man, when they cut him off. All right, Bike Life says, I want to see who wins. Okay, Terra66, how you doing, fam? Says, I want to see who wins the third wide receiver spot. Yeah, I got a poll going on here, fam. Let me reflect to that. Thank you for putting that on my mind, brother. There's a poll going on that I put up. Which young receiver do you like the most? Just saying, who do you like? Not who's going to win anything, but which of these guys that you like the most? And we have 80 plus people voted at the poll, and 49% of the poll says A.T. Perry, and then 30% goes Mason Tipton. And then we have 18% for Marquez Callaway and only 2% for Samson Nakua, if I'm saying his name correctly, who's the brother of Puka. So, yes, 50% A.T. Perry, 30% Mason Tipton. So that's very interesting as well. So A.T. Perry, the third wide receiver spot, it's going to be interesting, fam. Randy says, Q, do you think our D-line can be top 5 this year? Absolutely, bro. If they stay healthy, absolutely. Absolutely. Chase Young looks phenomenal, and they're looking at Chase Young because Chase Young was always celebrated. He was a celebrated top 2 pick. You know, he was the defensive player of the year, rookie of the year, I want to say, in his first year with 7 sacks. He got hurt the second year. I think the third year he had some injuries. Then they traded him to the 49ers, and between the Niners and the Commanders, the man had 7 sacks between 2 teams. Plus he had that sack in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, yeah, Chase Young, healthy on a 1-year prove-it deal because he wants a contract. He wants a multi-year contract. A healthy Chase Young, man. Let me ask y'all this. Let me phrase it correctly, before I get ready to dirk on out of here. Man, how can I phrase this? Is a healthy Chase Young better than Carl Granderson? Let's get to working on that. What y'all think about that? Is a healthy Chase Young better than Carl Granderson? Think about that. I want y'all to answer that in the chat. Put your answer in the chat on that, man. What do you think about that? Is a healthy Chase Young better than Carl Granderson? Put it in the chat. Let me know. All right. Yeah. Divine says Carr played for the terrible Raiders all of his career, bottom 5 defenses. Big Bull says, got a feeling Rattler and Haener will get a chance to play this year. Richard says, I think low key, the last 2 drafts have been pretty productive in players they have been able to add. Hemisphere says, not like I don't like Carr. I just think Carr is who he is. Carr is not going to carry a team to wins. Carr needs pieces around him. This is true. This is very true. And I think that's been with 10 years worth of serving to show you what kind of quarterback the man is. This is not disrespectful. He definitely needs a team around him, but I guess you could say that about most quarterbacks, except for some that are game changers that just take the game in their hands. But Derek Carr could benefit. He'll benefit from a good system when you have an Alvin Kamara, you have a defense, a special teams that's good. If he plays his part, the Saints a playoff team. Keep the turnovers down, make the throws, stay on time. The Saints win 10, 11 games easily if he does that. But stand on time, making sure you connect with the wide receivers, operating the play action off the back of the running attack. He stays on code with that. The Saints 10, 11 wins because the defense is good off top. The defense is going to be firing. Now, all this is based on whether or not how fast they consume the offense and get better. It also is based upon injuries. It's also based on philosophy as well. Like if we have an injury, because we're going to have injuries, you're not going to go through the season without injuries. It's just a matter of who gets hurt and how do you adjust to whoever gets hurt. If Derek Carr gets hurt, in many cases, the Saints are, and this is another question I'm gonna hit y'all with this one before I get the answer to that last one I said about Carl Granderson. Let me remember this one here because this is a good one. This is a goodie. Like Mickey would say, oh, this is a goodie. This is a good one. I got a good one for your ass. This is a good one. This is a good one here. Y'all, I'm gonna get first. Before I ain't gonna overload you, but I'm going to get this answered by the last one here. And then I'm going to throw this one on your ass about the question is, hold on, I don't want to forget it because it's a goodie. It's a goodie. You got a good one there, Q. Yeah. Can I call you Alvin? All right, Hemispheres is not. Yeah, thank you for that, Hemisphere. Appreciate you. Big Bull says Kubi, I probably would prefer Rattler over all three guys. Divine says I saw a guy wearing the Saints Carr jersey the other day. I gave him props. He said, "Man, you brave as shit, Walker Waffle." Shout out to you. Jack says, "Why we signed Chase Young to approve a deal and got caught for $150 million? Ask Slick Mickey Loomis, my friend." All right, Randy said, absolutely. He is, and IR ain't even close. Okay. So there you go. He said, so Randy says yes to Chase Young being better than Carl Granderson, right? All right. Sean says, he says, my question is, if Carr starts thinking up the joint, will they bench him and start one off the backups? I don't think they're going to just bench Carr. Remember, they're going to kind of hold on to him unless he crashes and burns, which I don't think he'll crash and burn. Then it gets anything possible, but I really don't think he crashes and burns. I think he plays well enough to keep his job. The only way he's removed it if an injury occurs where you can't shoot him up with painkiller, something happens and he has to sit out, then that's a whole nother thing. So let me get through to this because I got a question I want to ask y'all about some quarterbacks. And hold on, I'm trying to keep it in my head. I'm trying to keep it here because it's a goodie. Hemisphere says we shall see in 9 days. So next weekend is the first preseason game. Byron says Q, who's going to be the third cornerback? Laddie Daddy, Debo. It's Alante Taylor right now. If Laddie's there and Paulson and Debo's there, it's Alante Taylor. Fourth cornerback, Kool-Aid McKinstry. And then it's if a guy gets hurt, they just move him up the list. But but I often, and y'all see if y'all agree with me on this, that if an injury happens to Lattimore, Paulson Debo takes the number 1 spot. Kool-Aid McKinstry, I believe, goes to number 2, and Alante stays at the nickel. That's what I think happens. I could be wrong on that. That's just my instinct saying that Alante Taylor, in most cases, everybody slide up one ring. I could be wrong on this, but I think Alante stays at slot. If injuries happen, like if Marshawn is not good, I think Paulson goes up. Kool-Aid goes to 2 and Alante stays at 3. That's what I think. Now I could be wrong. We'll see. All right. See Bama. How you doing, fam? Who that to you? Jack says no question. Q the motor of Young, but not for Granderson. Okay. Yeah. Lori. Thank you. Lori says yes on that. Big Bull says yes, indeed. A healthy Chase Young is better. Pelicans Nola says yes. See, and Bike Life says yes, he's a pure destroyer. So how original, how awesome is that? Like Chase Young is DE2. Carl Granderson is DE1, right? And Carl Granderson is DE1 because he's the best defensive end that we had if you couple him with Cam Jordan, because Cam Jordan is now back up in this with 2 years left in his contract. Cam's on the back end of his career. Peyton Turner didn't step up and become a first-round draft pick. The Saints turned down his 5th year, which would have paid him north of $12 million. He said, hell no, which basically makes him a free agent after this year. And they drafted Isaiah Foskey, the Snowman, in the 2nd round of the draft last year. He played somewhat better toward the end of the season. He's been looking more solid in camp. So you bring in Chase Young. He was hurt. He rehabbed the surgery. He's looking good. But a healthy Chase Young, in my opinion, in the Saints system listen, it's the reason why he was a celebrated defensive end at Ohio State. It's the reason why he was a number 2 pick overall in the year that he came out. It's a reason why he's that. And then you couple that with the fact that he planned on a 1-year prove-it deal to Carl Granderson, who got his paper. Remember, Carl and Chase are 2 different dudes. And what I mean by that, they took 2 different paths to get here, man. Carl Granderson had to get it from the mud. He had to come up through Wyoming. He became undrafted. He went to jail. The Saints held on to him until he got cleared. Then when he got cleared of jail, he came to the Saints and he worked his way up to get the money. Chase Young was a dude that always he had to give celebrated all the way from college into the pros. And injuries, the only thing that stopped him out was the injuries. But if he's healthy, man, that's what I was saying. I was like, man, so imagine DE2 is actually DE1, and we about to see something special with the defensive line. So absolutely, when you ask that question. All right, Byron says, Divine says, I believe the defense still our story this season. Byron says, I like C. Young Granderson, but rather Young is a lot better, though, indeed. All right, Big Boo says, Kubiak season changer for us. All right, Healthy Chase is a dog, indeed. All right, Pelicans know the Saints, the defense stands on business. All right. They stand on business. Jack says they will bench Carr if he stinks because Pete would do whatever Allen told him. Kubiak won't play that game. The thing is, if he stinks, absolutely. But, but he would have to stink pretty bad to be benched. And I don't think Carr will play bad enough for them to bench him. That's the thing. Does he? I don't think he pays bad enough for him to be benched. Hemisphere says, Q, will you be calling Yes, I will. Yes, I will, my friend. I will be on here on Saturday, calling the Black and Gold's first preseason game of the season, man. Shout out to you. I will be here. Big Bull says, can our defense hold opponents to 20 points or less? Can our offense average 25 points per game? It's a good question. I will say I think the Saints defense is good enough to hold opponents to less than 20 points a game. The offense, however, that's yet to be determined, man. It's yet to be determined, fam. Yet to be determined. Hemisphere, I think so long as the offense can be effective and look like they have a game plan. Big Bull says some came Jordan on the bench this year. Yeah, Jordan's off, Cam's off the bench. Jackson's offense running up the middle will neutralize our monster ends. He says offense for neutral. Yeah, but see, the thing is, you have talent because last year you seen struggling happen from Bink Saunders and Nate Shepard, right? But you also have kind of fortified, like you have a really good reserve interior guy. Like you have Brian Bresee, who I'm looking at, people looking like A.T. Perry. I'm looking at Brian Bresee saying, hey, bro, you need to step up and get a position. You need to take that position from Nate Shepard. Step up. That's what they're looking at A.T. Perry. I'm looking at Brian Bresee saying, hey, bro, it's your time now. You showed a lot. You stayed healthy last year. Let's make that next step now. Let's see what you can do. Let's do this because you got Brian Bresee and Christian Boyd, the Saints interior. That they are the reserve tackles, and probably whoever if they keep another interior guy like Kip Vickers or Jack Heflin, or if the Saints just bring in a veteran after everybody cut their veterans and they find a decent backup defensive tackle they can throw on the team, that might be the case too. But like I said, man, it's one of them situations, man, where, somebody got to step up. But I do like that, but they have to do a better job of stopping the run. I think we talked about that a lot. All right, Big Boo says, facts, Q, we have Cam as replacement. We finally have the defensive ends. Yes, this defensive ends, if they stay healthy, will be awesome, man. All right, Hemisphere says, Q, it feels like this year is about changing the narrative for the Saints. Indeed, indeed, indeed. It is. All right, my dog Carr stunk pretty bad in his first Tampa and Minnesota game before he got injured. Yeah, but like I said, he in most games, Derek Carr didn't play bad enough. Like in most games, most games, a couple of games he did. But you got to understand the pressure that has to happen for Guy to stink it up that bad and everything around it. Like, for instance, he makes $150 million damn dollars. The Saints gave him $150 million. Do you know how bad that makes Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen looks if they're benching $150 million quarterback to put in a fourth round selection or a fifth round selection? What was Hayner? Was Hayner fourth? What was Hayner? Hold on. I forget. I know, let me get Hayner together here. Because I want to say Hayner was a fourth round guy. Am I right here? Was I right? Was he fourth round pick? Does it say it on here? They don't even say it. Y'all, you know what? Y'all put it in the chat. Let me know. Was he fourth? I want to say he was a fourth round pick. I'm pulling off my memory here. Fourth. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Al. Appreciate you, bro. I was pulling off my memory. Fourth round pick. So you know how bad that looks? $150 million quarterback getting benched for a fourth round quarterback or a fifth round quarterback. That looks extremely bad. That's something. And remember, I told y'all about ego. There's not anybody on this team that has a bigger ego and is more emotional than Mickey Loomis. He would not, and that's why I said offering stuff like that would have to be so bad that it could not be denied. You know, it's like, okay, I can't spend this in a way where, you know, he would have to really look bad for them to do that. Or the way I would see it, I don't think he will play bad enough to be benched. The only way I see something like that happening is if injuries impact and Derek Carr, God forbid, gets hit or tore up in a way where they can't pain shoot him, you know, shoot him up with painkiller, and he has to sit out multiple games. Now, this leads me a perfect segue into my next question, because y'all did a wonderful job on that Carl Granderson and Chase Young answer. If on the replay, y'all guys feel free to hit the comment section up when you're on the replay to answer this. Now, this is the final question I have for y'all. If Derek Carr, and this is the perfect segue, if Derek Carr is hurt, cross my fingers, I don't want to see him hurt. If Derek Carr is hurt to the point where he can't play, let's say we halfway through the season, we got a certain amount of games, 8 games or 9 games, and we sitting up there at 5-4. Let's say we 5-4 in the middle of the season. Carr goes down in the season, right? Do you believe the Saints can still make the playoffs without Derek Carr? Is there a playoff trip if Derek Carr is hurt? Is there a playoff trip if Derek Carr is hurt? Or even, let's say something happened to Derek Carr early on. This is just saying, if anything happened to Derek Carr where he can't play a great deal of games, is there a playoff trip without Derek Carr? Can Jake Haener take you to the playoffs? Can Rattler take you to the playoffs? Is there a playoff trip without Derek Carr? I say no. What do you say? I said no. What do you say? What do you say? What do you say? Answer that. That's that question. That's a goodie. That's the one Mickey Loomis says, oh, that's a goodie. That's a real good one right there, Q. Congratulate yourself. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Hemisphere says when you say rib injury, it'll make you hesitant. They knew Carr had injured ribs, but he was so bent on not playing Winston. OG says, I remember it was the third day of the draft and the Saints started that 4th round. That's at it. Thank you, OG. Sean says Drew Bledsoe got benched for a 6th round QB back in 2001. He didn't get benched, bro. Wasn't he hurt? Didn't Roman Pfeiffer? Didn't Roman Pfeiffer blast him to oblivion where he caused the man to have like he was bleeding in his lungs? That's how Bledsoe got it? Bledsoe got it because he got hurt and then they put Tom Brady in there. He got hurt by injury, I want to say. Not because he was playing. He wasn't playing all that great, but I want to say it was Roman Pfeiffer, if I remember. Wasn't it Roman Pfeiffer, the linebacker? He hit Bledsoe along the slide. He hit him so bad that something happened with his lungs, man. I don't remember what it was, but I know he hurt him bad enough where they put Tom Brady in there, but I know it was due to injuries, I want to say, for Bledsoe, how Brady got in there. All right, Cartel says, yes, indeed. Okay. L says, I think Rattlesnake could do it. Really? Boy, y'all got some high opinions about this. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Bledsoe got hurt, Sean. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, who was the linebacker? Put the linebacker in there. Lori says no. That's what I'm saying. There is no playoffs, not in my book. Haener never played one game, but I'm expecting him to take the Saints. Not only that, but all the pressure that comes with it in a final year to the playoffs. No, I like Haener a lot, but he ain't ready for that smoke. Let me tell you something. If something happened to Derek Carr, there ain't no playoffs, man. I'm just going to keep you all the way funky with you. I know y'all like the rattlesnake, but the rattlesnake, man, I don't want to rattlesnake him into Ian Book. Let me tell you something. We don't need that going on. We don't need that. Hemisphere says, Q, all I can say is he says, I remember all it took was for Bledsoe to get injured and Tom Brady had his shot, didn't let the opportunity pass him by. Yeah, it was that thing, fam, right? That we just talked about. about knowing when an opportunity is here and when the opportunity is not bigger than you. Like you sitting there waiting for your chance and you don't want to see a guy get hurt. But if that's the destiny that presents itself towards you, you like, you know what? I'm ready. You don't like, oh, I don't know about this. You shrink in the face of it. Then it goes to somebody else. It said, oh, my bad. I thought you was somebody else. That's what opportunity says. And then it goes like this and walks away. That's what happened. That's what happened. Like the thought process of people like, man, I had this idea and this other guy stole my idea and he making millions of dollars out of it. Well, if that's the case, it wasn't your idea. Or what do you mean, Q? Because if the idea came to you first and then you didn't take the idea and manifest it into what you were supposed to, it's not your idea. It don't belong to you. It was actually his because he actually took it, or she did it, or took it and made it and manifested. The idea go to the person that can make it work. Idea will come to you, and if you can't do it, say, "Oh, my bad. I thought you was somebody else," and then it'll go to the next person. Next person manifest the idea and put it into the world, and it become a blessing to everybody. So I mean, it's the thought process. Yeah, Byron says, "Hell to the no." Yeah, there is no playoffs without Derek Carr. That's the bottom line. There is no playoffs without Derek Carr. You can't. And I like Hainer, but no. Hainer never started a game in the NFL, and the Rattler is obvious. So, yeah. All right. I don't see me. Yeah, without Carr. Nah, sorry. That ain't going to happen. Jack says Bledsoe got hurt, but I think he was healthy for the playoffs, but they set him for Brady. I could be wrong. Yeah, once Tom Brady got it, bro, he wrapped his arms around that big old opportunity and never let it go. He wrapped his arms around that destiny. And it took him to be one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever played the game. It took him to 6 championships. When destiny presented itself to him, he was like, I've been waiting for you, destiny. Come on, let's go. And he did it. And he had some help along the way from the NFL, but still in all, he did it. L says, Q, if the 49ers could do it with the very last pick of the draft, anything is possible. Indeed, bro. All right, Trash said it was Mo Lewis hurt, bro. So, okay, Maurice Lewis? Is it Maurice Lewis? How did I think it was Roman Pfeiffer? What I was thinking that for? Tragic did the homework on it. Who hurt Bledsoe? Who injured? Yeah, Mo Lewis. A violent hit by Jets linebacker Mo Lewis on Patriots quarterback Drew Brees early in the 2001 season altered the course of New England franchise and the NFL this century. The play occurred on September the 23rd of 2001 with the Jets leading the Patriots 10-3 in the fourth quarter of a game at New England. They even had the hit right here, Mo Lewis. They got the game that changed the, I guess you could say it changed a lot, man. One hit changed everything. One hit changed it all. And it was along the sideline. I remember he was running the sideline and Mo Lewis popped him. Boom. And right there, that was it. And that's that hit begin the Hall of Fame career. It's weird, isn't it, fam? It's weird, man. That's what happened. Thank you, Tragic, for that, bro. Appreciate it. He said you have to be prepared when opportunity presents itself. Indeed, fam. Pelican's note says if we win a record with Derek, he said if we have a winning record with Derek Carr gets hurt, I'm going to get Colin Kaepernick. Hemisphere says, Q, you're 100% sure there will be a playoff berth win with Carr? I listen, that's a whole nother question, fam. But if the defense is healthy, like I said, it's a long season. But if you can run the ball and you can keep them timed, because that's the idea, is the Saints, getting the running game going. And also, we don't really talk about this stuff, but when stuff started happening in the game, like the pre-snap stuff, the Saints last year had a lot of pre-snap penalties, false starts, stuff like that. Of course, that has to be severely reduced. I know we're not going to be perfect, but we can't shoot ourselves in the foot. If we are disciplined enough to run that kind of offense where we are running out of sets that look like you're going to pass out of sets, and the sets of the uniform look where you don't know if you're going to do. If you did that disciplined enough to do that, then you must be disciplined enough to keep your miscues down. So that's something that we also have to pay attention to. But like I said, as long as we can stay on code with that, I think we can have success. As long as we do that, Tiger Fist says, I remember when 49ers Garoppolo had 8 pass attempts in the Shanahan offense and the NFC title game and go on to the Super Bowl. All right. Sean says, my point is Bledsoe didn't get his job back after he healed. Therefore, he was benched for a break. Okay, I see what you're saying, bro. All right. What's up to my dog? What's going on? My brother Revolt he says Roman Pfeiffer played for the Patriots. Yeah. I remember Roman Pfeiffer. That's what I thought I heard him, but it was Mo Lewis. He was on the Patriots side. That's what I was saying. For whatever reason, I don't know why, you're right. He was a Patriots linebacker. So he played for the Patriots. Mo Lewis was the Jets guy. Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right. Just got it muddled up a little bit. Jack says Carr is not the present or the future. So I'm looking at anyone to test drive. Yes, indeed. All right. I see what you did there. Anthony says you got an injury prone QB with a below average O-line. The Rattler going to rattle this year. How that Rattler going to rattle when the rattle is the third quarterback? How's that work? He going to leapfrog Jake Hayner, who is playing better than Rattler? And I mean, Rattler's doing good, but Jake Hayner is really balling. And like I said, when you cut Nate Peterman to bring in inexperienced wide receivers because your room looking kind of nasty, that puts a big boat of confidence into Jake Hayner as the backup quarterback. It really does. The Saints have a high opinion. Jake Hayner showed them enough to be the backup if something was to happen to Derek Carr, God forbid. That's a big vote of confidence. That Nate Peterman release said Saints showed a big vote of confidence for Jake Hayner. It really did. All right. So Divine says Carr is he is most certainly the present. I don't want to rush Hayner or Rattler's development. Indeed, we can't stick them. Remember what happened to Ian Book? Saints put Ian Book in there and they got that guy busted tore up his confidence and everything. It has to be a natural progression. If you got Derek Carr, you got a running attack. We do have inexperienced offensive line tackles, both guys, rookie left tackle, inexperienced right tackle. You do have questions at the left guard position. Center, right guard, those are veterans that, you got to kind of count on. But those guys going to have, especially McCoy and Ruiz, have to work together to make sure those guys are all right. You could eventually, if Nick Saldiveri can't go, you might have another veteran, a lesser known veteran out of the 3 backups, whether it's Ali Udo or Lucas Patrick or Shane Lemieux operating at the left guard position. Still questions, right? Saints still have to figure out a way to run the ball. John Benton, offensive line coach, says that he has the right collection of guys to operate his scheme. If he didn't, I'm pretty sure he would have told Clint Kubiak, hey, man, listen, I think I'm going to need a few more guys here to kind of help out. Now, they did have some stuff going on where the Saints did release Mark Evans II. He was the Arkansas Pine Bluff undrafted offensive lineman. The Saints released him, and they did bring 2 more experienced offensive linemen onto the team. And Tremaine Outram and Chandler Brewer. Those some of the guys the Saints brung in as some more veterans to go along with what they have. So, a lot of these guys are question marks now. They're veterans that have been in the game. Some of, then you got a couple of these guys, they don't have an extensive amount of playing experience, but most of them been backups more than they've been starters. So you do have something to worry about right there. But at the same time, the Saints will be tasked to getting this makeshift line, if you want to call them that. They'll be probably the most central key or building block towards success for the Saints offense into the season, because there isn't anything if the offensive line is not right. There is no passing attack. There is no running attack. There is nothing unless the offensive line does its job. So there you go on that, man. So we'll just have to wait and see how that looks. So, but they do look good in camp. They were wonderful today running the ball. So we just need to keep that going as well. All right, Jerry said, I'm happy Peterman's gone. Okay. Hemisphere says Rattler did a lot with a poor offensive line in South Carolina. Just didn't have the wide receivers. He had a good wide receiver. Leggett. Shit, he used Leggett. He built Leggett up into a top player, man. The Carolina Panthers took Xavier Leggett, man. That was his guy. He balled, and Xavier Leggett was like a return man, and they put him in there for the first time as a wide receiver, and he just took the hell off. And we'll have to deal with Xavier Leggett in Carolina. That's no doubt about it. All right, Hemisphere says Peterman signing was a head scratcher for me. Okay, yeah, they was trying to bring in a veteran because they weren't confident totally in Jake Haener. You know, the rookies, they had two inexperienced quarterbacks there. And it felt better for them to have Peterman as a guy that was a Raider before. He backed up Carr before. But like I said, Jake Haener been playing so nice, man, been playing so good out there that he earned a respect for them to cut Nate Peterman this early is my point. Now, we knew eventually Peterman was going to get the X, but for him to get it this early before we were a week away from the first preseason game, and Nate Peterman is gone a week before your first preseason game. I mean, there were some other places the Saints could have went in the depth chart to cut somebody that probably wasn't going to make the team to bring the wide receiver on. It didn't have to be the quarterback, but for them to cut Peterman a week before the first preseason game, that's a big statement. That's a big statement in confidence for Jake Haener. No doubt about it. I'm saying it. That shit's big, man. All right, so anyway, look, fam, that's going to be the end of it, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all playing the Saints trivia game with me and this episode of the show. So shout out to you guys, man. Appreciate you. Listen, fam, gonna pop up again, man. Tomorrow, perhaps we'll see how it all works, man. Like I said, it's been a busy day for me, man, going and checking it out. And I'm looking at boxing right now, checking out some stuff. So listen, fam, I'm going to roll it out on that. But listen, I appreciate all y'all. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed as well. If you want to join the channel, hit the join button or simply go to patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. Check out the whothatdaily.com for all the latest news on your Saints, Pelicans, boxing, all that kind of gravy stuff. Everything's starting to, bake up. You got college football on the cusp. LSU's about to get ready to roll out in the new built SEC, bringing in Texas and Oklahoma. It's a super conference, the best in the land, SEC. So that's another stuff that's coming up here. So it's a lot of stuff going in the sports world right now, man. So you also, our Linktree is in the description section. It has the links to all of our platforms, as well as links to merch. If several merch stores are in our Linktree, as well as donation information, all that stuff is there in one little nice place. But with that said, fam, I'm going to get on out of here. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day, and I'm going to holler at you on the next one. Much love, and who that take?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Fucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. You're listening to the sports coma. Yeah. With Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network. TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who That in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. So check out the Pro Shop.